Okay, what's going on, people? You good? What is going on? I hope you're all well. How's it going, guys? How's it going? Yes, my man Joe, how are you? You good? Jose, how are you? I hope you're all well. So, guys, big news breaking in the boxing world. Horrible news. Horrible news. Apparently, the deal's broke down. The deal has broke down. Caleb Plant. Yeah, it is Ray. It is Ray, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Let me just put the link in so you guys can jump on if you want to jump on. Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy one bit with this. It's an absolute joke. I thought the fight was as good as done. And we've now been hit with this crap that the fight's not happening. Plant don't want no smoke. Embarrassing. Yeah, Plant's. I'm not sure if it's Plant or whether it's PBC. Here's what I think's happened. I feel like PBC, they have a different platform to DAZN. What PBC do, they give guarantees and then they rely on pay-per-view numbers. I don't know whether PBC are going to be willing to put up the money that they want to put up. I just don't think they're going to be willing. If Canelo wants 30 million, Plant wants, just say 10 million guarantee, right? I just don't think that it's viable sense for them to put up that money because they're putting a lot at risk. If, for example, the pay-per-view numbers fail, they've lost a load of money. So does it really make sense for them to pour up that money? I think that's what's stopping the fight. I think that's what stopped it. The fact that Canelo obviously has a huge guaranteed purse with DAZN. He normally gets 30 to 35 million. And Caleb Plant probably wants a fortune. So it's probably around 40 to 50 million. Maybe PBC need to guarantee. And they're risking it. Sykes, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. Good.
I've heard.
Not happy with this news.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm kind of unhappy that now that Canelo is not gonna fight Caleb Plant anymore. But I mean, we kind of all had an idea that Caleb was going not to be successful during this fight, mostly because he doesn't have power, right? So
yeah.
It's a bummer, but maybe we might get a Berterviev next or Bivol. There's a lot of fights for Canelo, but I don't know if we will see an undisputed
But the
fight.
problem is, Sykes, he won't become undisputed. That's his goal. That's his goal, to become undisputed champion. And now he can no longer become undisputed. He has to fight Caleb Plant to become undisputed. Yeah, we all agree that we all think Canelo beats Plant, but they did say in the report that they could explore this at a later date. But why do you think it's broken down? Why do you think it's not happening?
I think maybe PBC is maybe they do not want to see. Maybe they do not want to risk Caleb losing this fight, or maybe Caleb does not want to have this fight because he does not want to risk losing. If he loses, then his career is done. Or maybe the money. Maybe there's a situation about money. Maybe they want Canelo to give a PBC. They want PBC to get money, or Caleb getting money, but maybe Canelo is not agreeing with this, and maybe he wants to look for a different fight. Or there's many different situations that could happen with this.
Right.
But what do you think?
Let me just 1 second, Sykes. Let me just inform David. So, David, if you haven't heard the news, apparently there's breaking news that the Canelo and Caleb Plant deal that was allegedly said for Fox to happen on Fox has broken down. There's been a breakdown in negotiations. So we're just doing a live chat to find out why these have broken down. And my take on it is, Sykes, and what I've said earlier is the fact that I personally think that there's a money issue here. I feel like Canelo probably wanted a guarantee of 30 to 35 million plus pay-per-view, and Caleb Plant probably wanted 10 million plus guarantee. And that would mean that PBC would have to guarantee something 40 million plus. And it's too risky because they don't know what the pay-per-view numbers are going to do. Now, we do know that Canelo Alvarez does great pay-per-view numbers. However, the problem is it's a lot to guarantee when you don't know how a fight, because Caleb Plant's not a big name. Caleb Plant is not a big name. So there's no guarantee. For me, in order for this pay-per-view to be a success, it'd have to do over 1 million pay-per-view buys. And if it doesn't do over 1 million pay-per-view buys, you know, PBC are taking a huge risk. They're going to lose money.
Yeah.
So that's what I think anyway. That's what I personally think. And I think that's why the deal broke down. Personally, I think they probably maybe wanted Canelo to take a lesser percentage or lesser guarantee. So then it makes more business sense for PBC. So they take a less hit. Whereas now, if you guarantee 40 million, right? If the pay-per-view flops, then all of a sudden you made a huge loss. That's why they wanted Canelo to sign a 3-fight deal. Makai, I want to welcome you. What do you make of the news?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's a bit going, but I feel we're probably going to see Canelo fight Bibble or Beterbiev, and I think they're better fights anyway. I mean,
yeah,
I always thought Plant never seemed really interested in it. I mean, how could you just break a contract in like just 11 hours in? Like, in 11 hours the deal's going to be done, and you just gets broken for some reason. I don't know how.
We don't know whether the thing is, Makai, we don't know whether it's Plant though. It may be something to do with PBC. Maybe not willing to guarantee such huge amount of money. Remember, Plant wants a lot of money, and Canelo obviously would want a huge amount of money. So maybe PBC is just not with. That's why they wanted Canelo to sign a 3-fight deal, because they probably weren't willing to take the risk. Because remember, PBC have a different platform. Their platform is based on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Right. So that means if you look at a lot of the guys that, for example, we see Pacquiao Thurman, we heard that Pacquiao's guarantee was 5 or 10 million when he fought Thurman, which doesn't seem a lot of money, does it? But when you think about it, that on top of the pay-per-view, God knows after the pay-per-view numbers, God knows what he got on top of that. So this is what I mean. I think it's a fact that what I've noticed with the PBC is that they don't guarantee a huge amount of money because they're relying on their pay-per-view to do huge numbers.
Well, I read this thing here. The guy who done the source, he said Canelo was set to earn more than 40 million guaranteed, and Plant was getting 10 million.
Right.
So I don't, and he's just like his biggest paydays for both fighters, of course. So I don't think the money was actually the problem. Because he said he was set to earn more than 40 million. So it seems to me like the money was agreed to. It's probably just something else. But I mean, I do want to find out, of course.
What do you think the problem was then?
I don't really know. I mean, Canelo, he has done rehydration clause before, hasn't he, in the contracts? But I don't think that would be it. Because I mean, he didn't give one to Smith, who's huge. He didn't do it to Saunders. I don't really know. What do you think? You think it's the money, didn't you? Yeah, the
I personally think it's something to do with the money. Ray, obviously, he was always saying that the money could be an issue. We don't know the full story yet. I'm pretty sure this will come out. But I personally think it's something to do with the money, to be honest with you. But then having said that, you're right. I forgot about that. They did report that Canelo was set to earn a career high payday. So what changed? What changed for that to all go? What changed? They said Canelo was going to earn a career highest payday. So that means that PBC were probably willing. Have they gone back and looked at the numbers and think what we're at risk here? I don't know. So
that's what I'm saying. It's weird. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't think Caleb will be ducking because, first of all, Caleb is going to get a huge payday. This is his biggest payday. So I think it has to do something with the promoters.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know why. I just don't think Caleb Plant would turn his back for 10 million plus. No one would. No one would. That's a fact. Like, no fighter. What's the worst that could happen? You could get knocked out. You could get hurt. Like, fighters don't really have that kind of mentality, especially a guy like Caleb Plant, who's an undefeated world champion. He's not going to be afraid to fight Canelo for tens of millions. I just don't see it. So I personally think that it's something to do with the promoters. I think Sykes got it spot on. I just can't believe that this fight was almost done, and now all of a sudden it's taking a U-turn, which is obviously not good news because Canelo Alvarez wants to become an undisputed champion. So Christian says, I don't think the dollars instead of non-financial terms, e.g. rehydration clause, ring size, etc. Wow. Christian makes a good point. Let's talk about his point that he made.
Yeah.
As Makai, you just pointed out, rehydration clause, ring size. But as you said, he didn't do that for Callum Smith.
Yeah, he didn't do it. I mean, Plant's not bigger than Callum Smith's, and he didn't even do it to Saunders. So I don't think he's definitely not going to do a rehydration course for Plant. Ring
What about ring
size?
size?
Maybe. I mean, maybe Plant's copying what Saunders wanted. That could be true. That's not exactly a stupid thing to say because he saw Saunders do it.
Would you
obviously, it's a big advantage as well.
Let me ask you, Makai, would you turn down 12 million or 10 million for a ring size?
Hell no.
So it doesn't make logical sense for me for a fighter to turn down that amount of money for a ring size. Does an 18-foot ring or 20-foot ring really make a huge difference?
No,
not really.
So Saunders got the ring. So Christian says it doesn't matter. Canelo knows that BJS and Callum Smith is not Caleb Plant. Plant is better than both of them skill wise.
Oh, I mean, how do you know Plant is better than Saunders skill wise? It's not. It's not like Plant's fought anyone great to show us that. Saunders, I thought is. Sorry.
No. You can do.
Yeah, I was just saying, like Saunders, he's fought better fighters than Plant, and he's showed up. He was like guys like Lemieux, he showed up. Plant, I don't even know. His best opponent, I think, is that Jose. Yeah, and he was getting. Obviously, he was looking really good for the first 6, but then near the end, he was getting hit a lot with big punches and everything. So I wouldn't say it's very obvious that Plant is more skilled than Saunders. I think they're at the same level. Plant has better attributes. So does Saunders. Plant's probably got a better jab. Saunders better footwork. So I mean, it's not obvious. Definitely not.
Makai, just a quick question to you. Do you think there's a possibility that Plant is better than Saunders, but he hasn't yet to prove it yet?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that could be true. Yeah. As I said before, actually, I think I did say Plant would probably put a better fight because he's bigger than Saunders. And he's a natural 168 pounder, I think. And I've seen a jab. He's got a good jab. I'll give him that as well. And we've seen jabs that give Canelo problems.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's obvious about the skill wise. Fair enough with Callum Smith. Yeah, Saunders and Plant are definitely more skilled than Callum Smith, but.
Christian makes another good point. He goes, the eye test, Callum Smith is a statue, stiff. He was there to be hit, Plant not stiff. He can box and is slick. You know what, Christian? You're making some good points. Come on, I want you to come on. Let me drop the link and come on.
Yeah, that's what I said anyway. I agree with the Callum Smith thing, but Saunders, I mean, we've both seen them. They both kind of had the same style, really. But Saunders, he's fought better fighters, I'd say.
I don't think any of.
I've dropped the link in there, so if you want to come on, go on, Sykes.
I don't think any of those moving around fighters can do anything. I think an aggressive fighter that has power, a good chin, can beat Canelo, and he's tough and he is determined to win. I think that's a fighter. I don't think a moving around fighter can be a Canelo. You have to be big, strong, and you have to put all your power in your punches and be aggressive. That's what I think.
Beterbiev.
Beterbiev. Why do you think Golovkin gave Canelo his big? Fighters like that, fighters who are tough, come forward and are very accurate.
Yeah,
and are actually good boxers as well.
Yeah, I don't like to see fighters moving around against Canelo. You see, Canelo, he's an aggressive fighter. So if you make him uncomfortable, make it a dog fight. You know, make Canelo be uncomfortable. I think you can beat him. You know, even though he can't get knocked out or knocked down because he has a very good chin. I think you can beat him by unanimous decision or split decision or like stuff like that. That's what I think.
I mean, would you guys be happy? I mean, I would. Would you guys be happy? Yeah, obviously we're all gutted about the Canelo Plant situation, but if he fought Bivol or Beterbiev, would you guys then be happy? Like, oh, sweet, that's a better fight.
Yeah. I think
Or would
Beterbiev
you
is a
still
better
want the
fight.
Plant fight?
No, Beterbiev.
Even Bivol, I think Bivol is even a better fight for Canelo than Plant. I mean, Bivol, I wouldn't say he kind of has the same style as Plant. He don't, but I think Bivol would probably be Canelo's toughest fight, and Beterbiev since Golovkin.
Makai,
I'm a little.
one sec, Makai. Christian, I've dropped a link. Click on that link and follow the instructions. So I've just Imran Mir TV. I'm in the chat. I've dropped the link. Click that link, and you should be able to get on. It's quite self-explanatory. So just click that link. It's in the chat right there. Oh, Christian, my man, Christian's on. What's going on, Christian?
How you doing, fellas?
Good, man. How are you?
Hello.
Christian, you know what? I wanted you to
We're
come
doing
on for
good.
so long. I've been messaging you as well.
Hold on, let me lower this. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Okay, hold on for a second. I'm at the office. Hold on.
All right, okay. Yeah, so carry on, Makai, while Christian gets himself.
Sorry, I think it was the other guy I was talking.
Okay, I'm
So
getting
what's
an
your name?
echo.
Can you getting an echo? Put the volume on your. So have you got it on your screen?
Okay.
Yeah, take the volume off.
You probably could still have the YouTube app on as well. You probably might need to turn that off because you're on the live on YouTube and then you're in this stream.
I'm a little worried for Beterbiev because he's starting to get a little old. He might be out of his prime. I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
he's very inactive as well.
Yeah, and he's been fighting.
Aaron.
Does he have a good resume? I'm not 100% sure about that.
He's definitely got a good resume. He's fought guys like Callum Johnson. He's good, and obviously he's fought Gavodsvik, and Gavodsvik. He was number one in that division as well. He put Alison Stevenson in a coma. So
yeah.
Headphones. Let me fucking get headphones. I don't have headphones. Fuck. All right.
You don't need Christian. You won't need headphones. Can you
hear headphones? Okay, I hear you now.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on the Plant fight.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Plant has a 5-inch reach advantage over Canelo.
Right.
Okay. He's got good feet. He's slick.
Yeah.
The fight is going to come down to, can he control the distance with the jab? And can he keep Canelo off balance, not allowing him to set his feet?
Right.
If he lets Canelo walk to the line, and when I say the line, I'm talking about where the lead foot of each fighter meets. He's allowing Canelo to be in range to counter. Caleb cannot allow him to do that. Every time Canelo steps forward, he's got to shoot the jab, stunt his progress from going forward, then move and force Canelo to reset his feet again. Every time Canelo steps forward, he's got to shoot the jab, stunt his
I 100% agree with you, Christian. But the thing is,
because Canelo struggles if you constantly force him to reset his feet. Because Canelo struggles if you constantly force him to reset his feet. Now, if you look at the Billy Joe fight, the mistake that Billy Joe made was he allowed Canelo to walk up to the line without any resistance. He didn't establish a jab to keep Canelo from coming forward. And that was how he was able to get to Billy Joe towards the latter end of the rounds. If you look at what Billy Joe did against Lemieux, Billy Joe established the jab, and he would move, and he would force Lemieux to reset his feet. So it begs the question, why didn't Billy Joe fight the same way against Canelo? Because Canelo didn't do anything that stopped Billy Joe Saunders from shooting out the jab. So it begs the question, why didn't Billy Joe fight the same way against Canelo? Because Canelo didn't do anything that stopped Billy Joe Saunders from shooting out the jab. You're right, Canelo isn't Lemieux, but Canelo is flat-footed. He's slow of foot. The only way, and he's really 5'7". He's not 5'9". So Canelo has to get on the inside to do his work. So if you have a reach advantage, and if you're fast on your feet, and you can box and move, keep them both balanced, he won't be able to get on the inside. You can outbox him from a distance. That's why Canelo doesn't want any smoke with Andrade, because the one guy who can do that effectively for 12 rounds is Andrade.
But we saw Andrade struggle with Liam Smith.
Liam Smith is 5'11". He's a bigger guy. And Liam Smith walked through a bunch of bombs recklessly. Canelo doesn't fight that way.
Yeah, but Liam Williams
doesn't have
no
a high
defense.
punch output like Williams does.
Williams has no defense. Canelo's got very good educated pressure and everything. Yeah, sorry.
Christian, you know what I was really impressed with, in your breakdowns of Christian sent me breakdowns, and that's why I wanted to get him on, because Christian sent me unbelievable breakdowns of the fights and what strengths of a fighter, weaknesses of a fighter. He broke it down like in paragraphs, like literally. Christian, fair play to you, man. That was brilliant.
Is anyone getting that echo?
Andrade, how do you think Andrade's going to be able to handle Canelo's pressure for 12 rounds? Like I just don't think Andrade can hurt Canelo. And it's 12 rounds, 36 minutes.
But you do need power to beat Canelo. Floyd had no power. Floyd's feather fisted. But how did Floyd beat him? Floyd beat him by controlling the distance with a jab, and he kept Canelo off balance.
Wasn't Canelo like 23 though?
Well, he's young at that point, Christian. Don't you think, Christian, that was a long time ago? Do you not think Canelo's improved and developed since then?
Doesn't make a difference if he's 23 years old. He was the bigger guy. And Canelo is still flat-footed today like he was when he fought Floyd. That part of his game hasn't changed. Doesn't make a difference if he's 23 years old. He was the bigger guy. And Canelo is still...
Ray, have you got any questions for Christian?
I've got loads of things to say. I don't know where to start. The first thing...
You're right. Plant is not Mayweather, but Plant has an advantage that Mayweather doesn't have. Plant has a 5-foot reach advantage, a 5-inch reach advantage, and he has a jab.
Yeah, but that's all well and good. I mean, it doesn't mean he's going to get anywhere near Canelo, does it?
Now think about this. Because of that reach disadvantage that Canelo has, the question is, how's he going to slip the jab and counter at the same time, being slow-footed? The only way he's going to do it is he's going to have to walk to the line. And when he tries to do that, that's when Plant has to assert his jab and box him from a distance. Not let him get to the line.
Yeah, but Canelo's got pretty... I don't think he's as slow-footed as what you're saying. I think he's a pretty good lateral mover, Canelo. I don't think he's as slow-footed.
You don't... See, well, listen, I see a lot of comments saying people are saying that you need Triple G's power to fight Canelo. You don't. What you need is skills, because Canelo's weakness is his feet. He is slow on his feet, and that's what you have to exploit.
Christian, would it be possible for you to take off your volume so then you can listen to us from the screen? Because there's an echo in the background. Like, we can hear you twice.
I hear you.
Right. Okay. And then we can ask you questions directly. Because, Ray, Christian, just to give you guys, Makai, Christian.
You know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to see if I can hear it on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'll lower this.
Yeah, use your phone. Christian literally breaks the fight down analytically. Like he sent me paragraphs and paragraphs like of him breaking down the fights. And I was like, I don't always agree, but it's just brilliant the way he breaks it down. His analytical, like the way he writes and breaks the fights
The
down.
thing is, man,
That's why I wanted Christian to come on for so long.
I mean, yeah, people can break down fights. People do it in writing. People do it verbally. But we've all got opinions. It doesn't mean that we're all right. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I mean.
I just think some of the stuff he's been saying is a bit like, you know, yeah, he's entitled to his opinion, but I don't agree with most of it. I don't agree Canelo's flat-footed. I don't agree that I don't agree what you're saying about plants necessarily. I don't always think that that's the way to beat Canelo. If you, although it might have worked with Kovalev a little bit, there's other ways. Like Golovkin didn't fight that way, and you could argue Golovkin won the. Who's got that background noise?
Christian, is that? Have you got it on the computer still?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. That's better. Yeah, that's better.
I think he still has his YouTube on.
Yeah.
You need to close. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah.
You need to get rid of your YouTube, Christian. You've got your YouTube on.
I said it earlier.
Send him a private message in, man.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. I mean, Golovkin didn't fight that fight, and you could argue he won the first fight against Canelo. I mean, I didn't give him that fight, but you could argue he won. But yeah. Albeit he's got his opinion. Some of the things I don't agree with. So
yeah. I think it might have been. Christian needs to turn off his.
Too much. There's too much echoing back and forth on my end too.
Oh, is there? Right. Okay. It's better now. It's better now, Christian. Can you hear us?
Yeah, see, I can hear the echo. Someone's still got the YouTube on.
Yeah. So you know your volume. You know your volume on your YouTube. So where are you watching? Are you watching it off a screen on YouTube? Don't watch it off that. Turn the volume off on that, and then come on through the link.
Or close the YouTube app.
Close the YouTube. Close YouTube.
Yep. Okay, and then close it. Okay.
Yeah, there.
It worked. Okay. All right. Okay. Now where were we? Okay. There are two blueprints that are out there to beat Canelo. There's the blueprint that Floyd put in place. Then there's the blueprint that Edeslani Lara put into place. And the Floyd blueprint is basically to establish the jab. If you watch the film,
how about the Golovkin blueprint?
The Golovkin is similar to Mayweather's, except he's not slick, but he used the jab, and he stopped and he forced through the jab. He forced Canelo to fight off the back foot in the first fight, and that's what happened. Because Canelo doesn't fight effectively off the back foot. Canelo is a pressure counter fighter. He comes forward, but if you force him to fight off the back foot, he struggles. And if you force him to move and force him to reset his feet, he struggles. So there's the Floyd blueprint. You fight behind a good jab. Then there's the Edeslani Lara blueprint, where he constantly forced Canelo to reset his feet all the time. Because Canelo can only generate his power when he's flat-footed, when he's allowed to wind up. But if you force to keep him off balance, he struggles. And the tape doesn't lie. Now, as for Caleb Plant, what we don't know is what's his stamina like. Because in the latter rounds, he can't afford to slow down. Because if he does, okay, if Canelo's able to get on the inside and break him down, okay, he could lose. On the other hand, he's got to stay active and controlling the distance for boxing all 12 rounds, because he's got the judges against him. Because if you look at the Floyd fight, Floyd had one judge call a draw. So that already tells you that in order to beat Canelo on scorecards, you got to do it convincingly. You're wrong. No, Canelo cannot fight effectively off the back foot. He showed it against Floyd, and he showed it in the first fight against Golovkin. Now, in the second rematch against Golovkin, the difference was that Canelo had an adjustment for Golovkin's jab. What he would do was he would slip his lead foot forward onto the line, and then he would lean back. So he would still be in range to counter every time Golovkin shot the jab. That way he can counter the jab without having to move his feet. And there's breakdowns on this on YouTube. You can look it up.
So, Christian, you said that you feel Charlo and Andrade beat Canelo Alvarez. How do you think Charlo goes about beating him? All right, I know Andrade.
Hang on. He said that Charlo and Andrade beat Canelo.
I've seen nothing from them that can beat Canelo.
You've got to be joking, mate.
Listen.
No, you've got to be joking. How can Jamal Charlo, the guy who struggled against Montiel, Andrade, who's kind of struggled that part with Liam Williams, beat Canelo Alvarez?
Okay. Let's go back to the old adage. Styles make fights.
Yes.
And boxing is a relative sport.
Yes.
Every fight is different because the variables change fight to fight. Now let's look at what Montiel did. Charlo's game is centered around his jab. He's got the best jab in the boxing today. What did Montiel do to take it over?
No.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
No, he doesn't.
Now, yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Now, okay. Now, what did Montiel do to take away his jab? What Montiel did was he stayed in the pocket with his shoulders squared. So every time Jamal shot out the jab, he didn't move his feet. He just used his reach to counter the jab. And Charlo got hit. And eventually that became a deterrent for Charlo to establish his jab, because every time he shot the jab out, he got countered. Because the man would eat the jab with his shoulders squared to Charlo, but he would use his reach to hit him. Because Montiel is what, 6'1", 6'2"? Now, ask yourself, can Canelo do the same thing? No. Right, Canelo's only 5'7", at the most. 5'8".
He's not 5'7", he's 5'9".
No, he's shorter than that. I've seen Canelo in person. He's my height. I'm 5'7".
No, he's not 5'7".
But Charlo.
Okay, I've seen Canelo once in person. He's not that tall.
But you said Jamal Charlo's got the best jab in boxing.
Ray, I do agree. I don't think Canelo's that tall, to be honest with you. I think 5'7", 5'8" probably is about fair.
But we've seen Canelo fight big guys anyway.
Amir Khan's 5'9", and I don't think Amir Khan dwarfed Canelo in that ring.
No, I think Khan was taller than Canelo.
Yes, he's got a longer reach. If you look at the career,
go back and look at the thing. He was taller than Canelo. Go back and look at it.
Since when does the height matter anyway?
Someone's got their echo in the background again.
I don't think anyone.
Now, going back, obviously Montiel is a much taller guy. Canelo cannot fight Charlo the way Montiel did. Why? Because he's short. So in other words, Canelo has to find a way to slip and counter the jab. And if you look at what Charlo did to Derevyanchenko, he controlled the distance the entire fight with his jab. And Derevyanchenko's only, 5'9", 5'10". You see? So you can't compare the Montiel fight to Canelo, because they're two different guys, and one guy's a lot shorter, and one guy's is as tall as Charlo, which affects the distance and how he can control the distance with the jab.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he's fully comparing it. Right, Canelo, he's a come-forward guy like that Montiel was, but he's got educated pressure, and he's got head movement. And when you throw, when you're throwing big punches like Charlo does, and especially when he telegraphs them, he's going to be easily countered.
Makai, one sec. Stephen, have you got your volume on? Take your volume off.
Is that better?
No, still echoing. You see, you can hear me in the background.
Have you still got your YouTube on?
Take your YouTube off. Put the volume of YouTube.
My YouTube is out. Let me hang up the call again.
Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, Charlo, he telegraphed his punches. He's got a good jab, I'll give him that. But we saw Derevyanchenko still come in at him. And that's a guy who's got no head movement. And we've seen Charlo find the back foot, and he doesn't look great doing it. He looks very scruffy and everything. And we've seen it get hurt to the body a lot. Charlo's a very easy guy to hit.
Echo again. Echo. Christian, have you got your volume on again?
No. I took the YouTube app off.
So who's got the echo in?
That's weird. Could you hear me clearly still? What I was saying?
Yeah, let me one second. Let me just one sec. Who is it? One sec. Ray, let me just check. Hello. Guys, speak up.
Hello.
Yeah. So it's Christian.
Yeah, it's Christian.
Christian.
Okay.
There you go.
It's coming from your side.
Okay. What should I do?
It's better now.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's still Gary.
No, can still hear the echo in the back. So I think you need to take the volume off YouTube. Get off your YouTube.
No, my YouTube is off.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why is it echoing again?
Probably because he ain't got headphones in, maybe.
There's no headphones here.
All right. Okay. Have you
Look,
got
back Mackay's point. I know it's echoey, but we're going to have to make do with it because Mackay's making some really good points here. So I think he deserves to finish his point.
Thank you.
Go on, Mackay. Go on.
I actually think I finished what I was saying.
No, you want to talk about educated pressure from Canelo. The fact that Charlo can't fight on the back foot. And also the fact
that why don't Christian
try come on again.
And then when he wants to say
okay, let me log off then.
Yeah. Oh, go on, guys. I can't be doing that.
Let Mackay finish his point. He's making some.
All I'm saying, I was going to ask him. I was like, because obviously he seems very confident. Charlo can beat Canelo. I mean, how do you expect? Yeah, how do you expect Charlo to deal?
In that New York water, I'm telling you now. There's no way Charlo's got the best jab in boxing. I don't know who he's. I'll let you finish your points, Mackay.
I'm just saying, I can't see how Canelo can, Charlo can deal with Canelo. I mean, we've seen people come at him, and Canelo's a guy who comes forward. He's got very educated pressure. He knows exactly what he's doing, and Charlo's style is literally made for someone like Canelo. I mean, we can talk about Charlo's size. Yeah, he's got a good jab, but Canelo's been up against those guys. Charlo, he telegraphs all his punches. Charlo, he fought, was it Brandon Adams?
Brandon, what? Sorry?
Brandon Adams. And Charlo fought someone called... Yeah. Right. Every time Charlo was lunging in, throwing hooks, and throwing the punches that he knocks opponents out with, Brandon Adams was slipping all of them. I mean, imagine...
Go on, guys.
Very smart fighter. He's seen all those styles. I really don't see how Charlo can.
Charlo can beat. Go on, Ray. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So, how do you? So, break down what you think. Why you disagree with what Christian was saying.
What about Charlo or Andre or which one?
Both of them.
Well, we'll start with Charlo and Andre. I don't think those guys beat Canelo. I haven't seen anything from their last 3 or 4 fights each to suggest they've got any tools at all to beat Canelo. If any of them had anything out the two of them, it would be Jamal Charlo. But for a start, I don't think he's got the best jab in boxing. I think if you take out Golovkin and Canelo, arguably he's the best out of the middleweight bunch, but they're not a very good bunch. The middleweights and the light middleweights are not a very strong bunch at all. They're not a very strong group, which is why the Charlos have been able to dominate. I mean, I agree with one of your comments. I've said this before. I think Golovkin's still got enough about them to beat them both and to still clean up at that division. So I can't see how Jamel Charlos all of a sudden can beat Canelo Alvarez. I just don't see it at all.
Christian, I know you disagree with the fact that Golovkin can beat, because I know you think that Charlo and Andrade both beat Golovkin quite easily, and you have been quite critical of Golovkin's style. So obviously, I wanted to ask you about it. I wanted to ask you about, okay, what makes you so confident that Charlo and Andrade will both beat Golovkin?
Andrade is the most skilled fighter from 154 to 168. He can fight off the back foot. He can fight off from different angles at different levels. He has all the tools in the toolbox. You take away one tool, he's got something else for you. He can adjust to anything. Golovkin is slow.
Right.
He moves very slow.
And now he's 39, but he's still got enough of 39. You know,
power doesn't win fights at the elite level. Amongst elite fighters, what wins is skills.
But Andrade's not an elite fighter, though. Andrade's not an elite fighter.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. Look at his pedigree. The guy's an Olympian. He is a true division world champion, undefeated.
Golovkin was an Olympian.
Look at the skills.
Well, look at Golovkin's skills.
Golovkin, all he has is his defense is his chin. He's there to be hit. And he's slow of foot.
Golovkin, I mean, if you look, you name a better fighter at that or the weight classes that you said that cuts off the ring like Golovkin.
Golovkin, okay, it's not about cutting off the ring.
It is because you're talking about
skills.
You
also have to understand that he also has a weakness to
skill, is it not? Cutting off the
yes, it is a skill, but he's slow of foot.
You said Canelo's slow of foot. I mean,
Canelo's slow of foot.
I'm not convinced. Nah, and I don't.
He is slow. Look, he fights flat-footed.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think Golovkin's elite?
Today, no. I never thought he was elite. I just thought
you think Andrade's Golovkin.
Christian, for some reason, I don't know whether you're one of these PVC boys or what have you. Let me tell you something. There's no way Andrade's got more skill than Billy Joe Saunders. I know Billy Joe Saunders is pretty much he's in the career. Billy Joe Saunders has got more skill than Andrade.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, of course he does. Of course he does.
A slick fighter.
Okay, I'll explain. Here's the difference between Billy Joe.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the difference between Billy Joe and Andrade. Billy Joe's movement is more designed to escape than it is to box. He uses his movement with the jab, but he doesn't really let go of his hands throwing combinations on the move like Andrade does. Andrade has stronger pop. He's got faster hands. And he can fight, and he fights better from different angles than Billy Joe does. And the tape doesn't lie.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree. I think Andrade's more spiteful. I believe Andrade's more offensive and more dangerous than thing. I think Andrade early on in fights, he can overwhelm you. Look what he did to Liam Williams. He kind of reminds me early on in fights a bit like Khan, where he would overwhelm you and use his fast hands. But the thing is with Andrade is he slows down, like we saw in the Williams fight. It wasn't as dangerous later on in that fight. He was actually getting backed up by.
But this is where Christian's falling over his feet a bit, because he's saying it's not always about power. But then the first thing he says is Andrade hits harder than Billy Joe Saunders. So what exactly are we talking about?
I think what he means is his combination. I think his combinations. He puts his combinations better than Billy Joe. Billy Joe's more of a slick, like he's right, where he's trying to escape and land a punch here and there and get away. Whereas Andrade's more spiteful. He lands punches in bunches.
Yeah, but that's a skill in itself. Last time I looked, lads, boxing was about hitting and not getting hit.
Yeah, no, but Andrade's also skilled as well.
People need to understand.
I'm not saying Andrade's not skilled. I'm just saying I don't think it's the best between 154 and 168.
Oh no, I don't agree with that.
Christian said he's the most skilled between those three divisions.
I think he's better than Billy Joe. I do. I think he would have beaten Billy Joe. That's my personal opinion. I think he beaten Billy Joe. Yeah, I do think he would have beaten. I don't think he beat. By the way, I think Charlo would beat Andrade. What do you think about that, Christian? You don't think so?
No, and I'll tell you why.
Go on.
If you look at the fight against Matt Korobov, what did Korobov do? He took away Charlo's jab with quick feet. He would he was a shorter guy, but he had quick feet. He would dart in to counter the jab. And once he was able to do that successfully, Charlo was discombobulated. He wasn't able to fight behind his jab.
Right.
Andre will do the same thing, and he's just as fast and slicker than Korobov is.
Why don't you think Canelo would do the same thing? I mean,
Because
Korobov didn't exactly show. Korobov didn't exactly show.
I'll give you an example. Look at Pacquiao. What makes Pacquiao so successful against taller fighters? Look at his feet. He's like a cat who darts in and out.
But Korobov didn't exactly show good footwork in that fight. I didn't really see, and I saw a lot of counterpunching, which Canelo is a master at. And the height don't mean nothing. We saw Charlo, but when Charlo was throwing his punches, his knockout punches to that Brandon Adams was seeing them from a mile away, slipping them all. And that's to someone who's not even known for any of that. I mean, well, I've seen Charlo get exposed plenty of times.
But Charlo's not slick.
Andrade. And you need to see what Andrade fight. Did you see his last fight? Do you really think Andrade's going to catch Canelo with that uppercut that Canelo would see from a mile away? What?
Yes. No.
He throws it from his...
catch him with that lead uppercut.
Right. No. I've got it right. He throws it from his knees. Canelo would see that coming. Canalo's going to see. Canelo's not easy to hit. And you think Andrade's going to do something?
Hold on. Amir Khan has fast hands, and he lit up Canelo like a Christmas tree from a distance.
Yeah, Amir Khan's
just
a lot faster than
imagine if Khan had movement and had a chin, he would have outboxed Canelo.
Well, that was Canelo from 2016.
But he still fights the same way. He's still flat-footed.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't fight the same way.
Yes, he's still flat-footed.
To prove he's not the
Canelo is
same
still
way.
flat-footed.
Right.
He still needs to set his feet to wind up on his punches.
Steven, brother, what do you think? Talk some sense, man. What do you think?
Christian, what do you think? Steven,
Steven,
yeah,
Steven, what do you think?
Well, I think Demetrius Andrade, I think out of that bunch, I think he's one of the more skilled fighters. However,
Steven likes Andrade. Steven likes Andrade. I know.
I like him, but I don't think he's beating Triple G, and he's certainly not beating Canelo at this point.
But Steven,
Christian,
you did say to me, Steven, that you think if there's anyone that's going to beat Canelo or Golovkin in around those weight classes is Andrade. I remember you saying that he's a killer.
That doesn't mean he's going to. What Steven's saying there, if anyone could, it would be him. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to do it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But what I mean is that backs up Christian's point in the sense that he is a very skilled fighter.
It doesn't. Imran, Christian's saying quite clearly, Andrade is the most skilled fighter between 154 and 168.
I would say one of the most skilled. I wouldn't go as far as saying the skill.
Imran, that's not what he said. The guy said Andrade is the most skilled. Not he is. If he had said, I think Andrade is very skilled, we would all be agreeing. But what he said is he's the best between 154 and 168. That's what he said.
Christian, did you say that he's the best? You believe he's the best?
Yes, I did. I know what I see on tape.
Right,
I disagree with that.
But what about the resume though, Christian? He hasn't really proven.
Resume doesn't win fights.
No, you're right. You're right, Christian. I agree.
It's also a big factor though who they fought.
Resume doesn't win fights, but he's not. What makes you think he's prepared? We don't know what he's like if he gets hit by a big punch of Canelo or Golovkin. What's it like in the later rounds against a killer like that? We don't know.
Canelo's not going to land on him because he's not going to let. Go ahead.
What you got to understand too.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is better than anything that Andrade has got in the ring with? Is it even close to what he's faced? What's his best win?
Well, I don't like to go into the resume argument because I already made it pretty clear on social media. I don't believe in resume as a measuring stick in predicting fights because unfortunately, the fights that need to get made aren't getting made. Therefore, you got to look at skill set to assess fights because of the unfortunate state that boxing's in right now. Okay, so I think you got to look at skill set and look and compare advantages and disadvantages to assess who would win a fight. Because every fight is different.
Yeah, but Christian, the question was, what makes you think Andre, looking at his record, has enough to beat Canelo?
Can I just say one thing?
Okay, I'm not looking at his record. I'm looking at his skill set.
Yeah, okay, so his skill set then. Because for me, those questions that Imran and all of us are saying are still valid. The guy's not proving he can take a shot. The guy's not proving his stamina late on. So what makes you so confident that he beats Canelo?
You know, and Ray,
okay,
I was going to say. And Ray,
go on, Stephen.
And I was going to say real quick, Ray, that you know, I like Demetrius. Yeah. I like Demetrius Andrade, but there's still a lot we don't know about how he will fare in the ring with somebody as brutal and somebody as solid, impenetrable as Canelo.
I agree.
I don't know if he can stand in there and take one of them orbital bone fractures.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
just the body punches alone. Just the body punches alone would win the fight for Canelo. Canelo would.
Okay, well, gentlemen, can someone explain to me then how is a 5'7" Canelo is going to get in range to counter the long arms and fast hands of Andrew?
Let me tell you something.
Haven't we seen it before? Haven't we seen Kovalev?
Yeah, exactly. Kovalev
is not slick. And I got an answer what happened in the Kovalev fight. Kovalev, in his younger days, had the best jab in boxing. If you look at what happened in that fight, every time Kovalev used his jab with force, it stunned Canelo from coming forward. Then, for some inexplicable reason, he stopped using the jab with force and started throwing it passively. And then we saw Canelo plod to the front line, and he was able to get in. So nothing that Canelo did stopped Kovalev from using his jab with force. So what happened? There's a number of reasons.
I want to say something.
Demetrius Andrade is like really good for the first 4 rounds, and then he just like goes like passive.
Yeah,
so he might be like good for a couple rounds, but Canelo is going to.
You guys, okay? When you're looking at the Liam Williams fight, what happened in that fight? Liam Williams
gave him
coming forward with a high punch output. Does Canelo fight that way? No, he doesn't. Canelo has a low punch output. So he doesn't have the motor that Liam Williams has to keep throwing punches at Andrade and walk through shots.
Yeah, but Steve, Christian Alvarez is really economical with his punches. Yeah, so if you look at it a bit like whenever Andrade gets into range and Canelo's in range with him and he lands those body shots on him, they'll take a talent shot. That's how you stop a mover from moving. You'll be too much for Andrade. You'll be too much for him.
But Andrade is not gonna let him get inside. He's gonna box him from the outside. That's how he's gonna fight.
At some point, Canelo's gonna get to him, Christian. At some point, Canelo's gonna get to him.
I don't think he will. I think he's too slow.
No. All this, he's
if he had feet like Pacquiao, okay, but he doesn't.
Right, Christian, right. What do you think? How do you think Andrade's going to handle after the 6 rounds? We saw what Canelo done to Saunders. He was countering Saunders, and Saunders is a slick fighter. And I already explained
what happened in Saunders fight.
Andrade's right. Yeah, if you think Andrade's better, but he's not way better. We haven't seen that or anything. I mean, what makes
Saunders? But Saunders didn't control the distance. Look at what he did against Lemieux. And look at what he did and how he boxed Lemieux, and look at what he did against Canelo. He didn't control the distance with the jab.
He's bars below Canelo. Lemieux
is
he's like
both guys are flat-footed. Both Lemieux and Canelo are flat-footed.
You're comparing like
Christian. Don't you think Canelo is levels above Lemieux?
He's a better fighter than Lemieux. I agree.
So this is what I'm saying. That obviously the reason why Billy Joe wasn't able to do what he did to Lemieux because Canelo's better, right? You don't think so?
No, I don't know what Billy Joe was. Listen, I don't think Billy Joe's been the same fighter ever since he got caught with PEDs. He didn't look good after that. He didn't. I don't think he's a true 168. And prior to the Canelo fight, he was out of shape when he started training camp. So he had a fat camp.
You got a point.
So I think those are factors that I think impacted what we saw in his performance.
So
and he was leaning over constantly, telegraphing, that he can get hit with the uppercut the entire fight. I don't know why he was doing that.
I can say a lot of bad things about what Andre does.
Go on then.
Like, have you seen when fighters come in, he lunges his right hand, like throws like a maniac. That's not smart. Oh, he's not a smart fighter. When someone gets close, he holds. That's not smart. He doesn't. He has a good jab, but when someone goes into the body, he holds, and then when he is slipping punches, he leans his head right out, makes it lunge in to get countered. But no one does it because Canelo's not basic like Liam Williams. No offense to Liam Williams, and we saw Liam Williams give Andre fits.
Actually, I think Canelo's pretty basic. To be honest,
I do. Come on, Christian, man.
Yes, I do. I think he's a basic fighter. He can't fight off the back foot. He only comes forward.
I need to say something.
Controversial for the sake of being controversial.
Guys, let's people let's one at a time.
Can I say something?
Go on.
It seems to me, Christian, that you think fighters that are on their feet, that have good footwork, like Andre, I guess, are only skilled. I mean, there's a lot more to it than just being on your feet in boxing. I mean, with Golovkin, do you not think Golovkin's a skilled fighter?
No, I don't think he's very skilled.
Oh, that's
I think he's just a bag with a good chin.
Ridiculous.
He's there to be hit.
No. How do you think he gets in? How do you think he stops them from moving around?
Listen. Golovkin has never been in a ring with a highly skilled, slick boxer. He hasn't. Yeah,
but Daniel Jacobs.
Daniel Jacobs is not slick. Daniel Jacobs is not slick.
He was known as slick before he fought Golovkin.
He's been knocked out before. He gets hit a lot.
Right.
Why do you think Canelo picked Daniel Jacobs instead of Andre when he was at 160 to fight for a belt?
Are you saying Canelo ducked Andre?
Oh, yes, he did. Most definitely.
Okay, well,
facts are clear.
He was actually in negotiations with Andre and Kovalev, but he just picked Kovalev.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
Well, but do you want me to go through the facts, through the sequence? I can.
Go on, Christian.
Go on.
Okay, let's go to the facts.
Okay, yeah.
On May 5th, 2019, that's the date when he fought Daniel Jacobs. Yep. In the post-press conference, Canelo said he wanted to unify the 4 belts. Okay. He wanted to unify the 4 belts. At that point in time, he had the 3 belts. He had the IBF. He just won it from Daniel Jacobs. At that moment in time, who had the last belt? Andre.
Yeah, it was that. Yes.
Now, the following month, what did Canelo do? He dropped the WBC belt for the franchise belt, which took Undisputed off the table. Then the IBF, the following month, ordered a purse bid, forcing to fight Derevyanchenko. Hold on. And then in August, he petitioned the IBF saying that he wants to make a fight with Andre for unification. The IBF said too late because the purse bid already went out. Because under the IBF rules, you have to give notice that you want to do a unification fight to avoid a mandatory. So it begs the question, why didn't Canelo act within a 60-day window to make the fight for Undisputed?
Okay, I know exactly, yeah. De La Hoya, why do you think Canelo and De La Hoya don't like each other? Right, I'll tell you. De La Hoya made an agreement with the IBF that they have to make an agreement within 12 days, and Canelo knew nothing about it. That's why he lost the belt. He never ducked that Derevyanchenko, and he still went in negotiations with Andrade and Kovalev. But Kovalev is the bigger name, better legacy fight. And he'll be the first 4-division champion if he beat Kovalev. But if he beat Andrade, he still wouldn't have been undisputed because he didn't have the IBF belt.
Andrade himself said that an offer was that Dazn guaranteed Canelo $40 million for an undisputed fight. Canelo said no.
Yeah, he picked Kovalev, and I don't know why you believe anything that comes out of Andrade's mouth. Well, you
Listen,
think
I'm a lawyer. I deal with facts, and I'm looking at the facts. In fact, the only inference here, the only logical inference is that he ducked.
Yeah, this is common sense though, right? Do you really think that DAZN are going to give Canelo more money to fight Andrade, who can't sell out a restaurant, over
Eddie Hearn confirmed it.
Over Kovalev, who's a big name? Yeah, Eddie Hearn also said Canelo's a drug cheater, but now all of a sudden he's not.
Well, yeah, that is true too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Eddie Hearn says a lot of things here because it's there. That's his fight.
Well,
now
Canelo did fail. Canelo did fail 2 drug tests. That is a fact.
Right. Yeah, but I need to say this, right? Hearn probably said that Canelo ducked Andrade when he had Andrade, but now he has Canelo. He's saying that Canelo doesn't duck no one.
Then explain to me then why didn't Canelo make the fight for Undisputed when he announced it that he wanted all 4 titles and he only had one last loss left to go? Why did he turn off the Xbox?
Because Andre does nothing for his legacy.
No, I'm just saying.
He said he wanted to be Undisputed.
Look,
Canelo,
he's not fighting Plant now, is he? He's not fighting Plant now. And how many times he said he wanted to be Undisputed at 68? And he's not fighting Plant now, is he?
Yeah, and I need to say something here as well. Canelo, after he beat Jacobs, he got asked about Andrade, obviously with the 4th bout, and he said he would want to fight Andrade, but obviously the timing wasn't right because Andrade was fighting in August. Obviously, Canelo fight in May, and Canelo fights in September. That's why.
You know what?
And he was obviously going to fight Andrade when he was in negotiations with him in November.
Had he immediately extended the offer, but see, that's the thing. Had he immediately extended the offer for Undisputed, then Andrade would have changed plans and would have done the fight.
No, because he already had a fight. He already had a fight on this.
But here's the thing, guys.
You can't just pull out of the fight and then.
Guys, Andrade might get the fight now. What's to say Andrade won't get the fight? If the Caleb Plant fight don't happen, he's got to fight somebody, right?
Well,
yeah,
he's got
don't care.
It can happen. I'm glad you brought that up.
68. He's going to have to settle this.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Place at middleweight.
No, but this is what I'm saying, Ray. But there's nothing to say that the Andrade fight can't happen now. He's with DAZN. It's an easy fight to make.
Oh, it is easy because Andrade already has the mechanism to do it with the WBO rules. There's Rule 6 of the WBO rules. All Andrade has to do is petition the WBO, and he becomes the automatic mandatory at 168.
Go on, Stephen.
So let's say this. Let's do this. All right, let's do this. So Canelo has a fight coming up. It seems like with Plant. All right.
No, it's not. It's off.
Canelo doesn't choose.
It's off, Stephen. What? It's off. According to the report. It's off? Yeah.
What? Oh shit! I didn't know that. So
yeah. They just news that apparently it's off. So this is what we're saying, that if that fight fell through, then why not make the Andrade fight? It's an easy fight to make. They're both with DAZN. So that fight should really be next. Andrade can move up to 168. He's been calling out that fight for a while. Yep. So surely that's the easiest fight to make, right? Because Batabiev's going to be hard to make because he's with ESPN and Top Rank. That's not going to be easy. They're not going to play ball. Andrade is with DAZN. Hey?
What about Bivol? What about Bivol?
Bivol's with DAZN. That's a good fight.
Yeah, Bivol's with DAZN. That's the fight I want to see. I want to see Bivol. And the Bivol fight is a better fight than Andrade. And I think, he probably don't have more interest to the Yanks. But just actual boxing fans, I think people would prefer the Bivol fight. I mean, Andrade, he does absolutely nothing for Canelo now. At 160, he done something for Canelo.
Move up and impose a rehydration clause like he did on Kovalev? Come on now.
Pardon?
You know,
you won't put no rehydration clause on Bivol.
He didn't put no rehydration clause on Callum Smith, who is 6'4" and is bigger than Bivol. So
but Callum Smith is a statue. He is there to be hit.
Oh, come on.
He's easy work.
Not a statue.
Yes, he is.
Easy work.
He doesn't move.
Listen. You don't become the Ring Magazine champion at 168 and be a statue. That's just disrespectful, Christian.
He fought no one outside the UK circuit. Come on, bro.
He beat George Groves. George Groves.
Christian, you're one of these, unlike Steven, that just thinks boxing's America and PBC. You don't have to. At the end of the day, he became the lineal champion at 168. Did he or did he not? Did he or did he not?
Guys,
listen up. Ray, when we think about it, Ray, when we think about it though, right? Who did really Callum Smith fight?
George Groves.
George Groves was done though at that point. Let's be honest, he's a good fighter, Groves, but he was finished at that point. He had a shoulder surgery and all.
He was still good.
No. He had shoulder surgery.
Imran.
He had shoulder surgery. That doesn't necessarily mean he's finished.
And there's a come on, you know Groves wasn't at his best. So was that the same Groves that fought Carl Froch?
He was still a good fighter.
Come on, you know that Groves wasn't it wasn't the same Groves that fought Carl Froch. Come on.
That's not Callum Smith's fault, is it? You just said listen. No, Imran, listen. He just said 15 minutes ago you don't go off resumes. And the first thing he says is he's going off a resume. Who did Callum Smith fight? So
I go off a resume, because you know that, right?
But at the end of the day, I know he's sticking for Christian here. At the end of the day, the kid's falling over his feet. He said, am I lying? He said 15 minutes ago, don't go off resumes.
In assessing who's going to win a fight, you look at skills, not resume.
He calls Callum Smith statue. What's he talking about? Since when was
I've seen Callum Smith fight. He is there to be hit. He's not slick.
You tell me.
Christian, can I say something?
You tell me, Christian, how many times you've seen Callum Smith fight?
I've seen a couple. I don't know how many times I've seen him fight.
Twice.
But I've seen it a handful of times online. Online, I've seen it.
Give me a break.
Bro,
here's the thing. Ray, going back to the resume thing, Andrade's got a poor resume. I know Christian's right in the sense that you can't. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with what Christian's saying about the resume, but he's right about Callum Smith in terms of the resume. Callum Smith didn't have a great resume. Neither does Andrade. Neither does Carlo. They don't really have great resumes. They haven't really fought the top guys in around their weight classes. So I don't know how good they are. We don't know how good they are, really. You can talk about skill set, but skill set hasn't come into play against other top fighters in their weight class.
Listen, Imran, if that's the case, you can't talk about any guy at 160 or 168.
That's what I mean.
They've never fought anybody.
You can't.
And the only reason we have legends is
That's
because
why
we base them on their resumes. We don't base Muhammad Ali just because he has great skills. We base Muhammad Ali because he beat Sonny Liston.
Exactly.
You're spot on.
Same with Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, all those fighters. But at the end of the day, you've got to judge these fighters now. You've got to judge these fighters now and who they fought now. And to see somebody who became the Ring Magazine champion, the lineal champion, is no good and is a statue, I'll just find that disrespectful.
No, I don't think he's a statue. Callum Smith was a good fighter. He was powerful, and he was a good fighter, no doubt about it. But again, I criticize all these guys, and I've been consistent. I criticize Billy Joe. That they haven't fought anyone, man. They don't fight anybody. Why don't they fight the top fighters in their division? Canelo.
Let me give Christian a question because he's being so controversial. Why doesn't Jamal Charlo not fight Andrade?
Yeah,
I agree with you. He's ducking Andrade, and I've been calling out Charlo for the same thing.
He also ducked Canelo. If you didn't know about that.
And then why don't
Charlo didn't duck Canelo.
Why did he turn down 10 million?
He didn't turn it down. It was PBC. You have to understand, PBC turned it down and never made the offer to Charlo.
If that was true, PBC are protecting Charlo because they know that Charlo's not good enough to beat Canelo, clearly. And what I need to say here is
PBC did not convey the contract.
You said Callum Smith was a statue. Yes, he is. So are all the guys that Andrade fought, and you're saying that Callum Smith hasn't fought anyone outside the UK, but you said resumes no matter, and Andrade, he's lost 4 fights.
Doesn't matter in assessing, measuring who wins a fight. You got to look at skills, because I've already explained in today's game. The fighters are not fighting the best. The best are not fighting the best.
Yeah, that's true. The best are not fighting the best, but you're confusing me a little now about the resumes.
Here's the thing. Canelo's the only one at 160 or 168 that's fighting the top guys.
And he still doesn't get respect.
Exactly.
Hold on. But 168 is a weak division.
It wasn't a weak division when Canelo was in it. It wasn't a weak division.
Listen, why did Canelo take care of business at 160? Because he had Andrade and Charlo there. That's why he dropped the WBC belt, took the franchise belt, and that's why he ducked Undisputed.
Those are choices of franchise.
That's a load of rubbish. That's a load of
rubbish. Well, let's talk about 154. 154, when Andrade had the belt, the WBO, he was calling out Canelo for a fight, for a title shot.
I'm pretty sure Canelo would rather fight Golovkin over Andrade.
And Liam Smith got the belt. Then he fought Liam Smith for the same belt. Now, come on, fellas. It's obvious what's going on here.
No, it's not. Exactly what Mackay said, and I've said it before. Imran knows this. Why would you fight Golovkin? Golovkin possesses, and then be accused of running away from Charlo and Andrade? It doesn't make no sense.
Because styles make fights. Because Andrade has a style and skill set that will give Canelo all kinds of problems.
Golovkin
doesn't have. Golovkin is immobile. He's there and he's not going to move.
You're on some sort of rubbish, man. I'm telling you now.
Golovkin gave Canelo hell. He gave him hell.
But Canelo doesn't want to deal with someone who's slick who can move.
Right, Canelo would rather want to deal with someone slick than someone like Golovkin. That's a fact. That's a fact. People accuse Canelo of ducking shoulders, and then he fought him.
Man, let's not forget, Canelo got popped for PEDs before the second fight.
Everyone's agreed apart from one person.
Here's the thing, Christian. Let me ask you a question. If just say Andrade, right? He's outboxing Canelo for a couple of rounds, 3-4 rounds. He's up on the scorecards, right? What makes you so confident that after 5, after 6, after 7, that he's going to be? He has to fight a perfect fight, right? He can't afford to get tired down the stretch. Otherwise, Canelo's going to eat him up. So what makes you so confident that later on, like we haven't seen it? We've seen it later on that he struggles. He doesn't have the same kind of. He doesn't have that same. He's tires later on in fights. So that's what I've seen so far. He's not been very impressive, even against Cotton Dokwa. I wasn't that impressed, to be honest with you. Now he's going to jump up levels and fight Canelo. I just don't see how he's going to be able to fight. He's got to fight a near perfect fight to beat Canelo.
And I don't want to. And hold on, Christian. I don't want to make it seem like everybody's bunching up on you, because I think you're making some, controversial, but you're making some good points. But what Imran is saying is exact and true. Andrade might, saying Demetrius, Boo Andrade, he might fight good for the first 6 rounds, but Canelo is incredibly durable. He's incredibly durable. I just don't know that he has the goods, because I know you don't go off of resumes, but that is a fact. That it's like a equation. It's like a formula, like a chemistry formula. You have to factor that in at some point, because that equals the sum total of the fighter. So with Andrade being, with Boo Boo being kind of somewhat limited and somewhat limited in his experience with good solid fighters, I just don't know that he's good enough to pull out the unthinkable in a 12-round bout with Canelo. Now, again, I respect you, man, and I'm sorry that it's going this way for you. It seems like you
he left.
Oh, is he gone?
Man,
no, he's back. He's back. Christian's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
He's back.
Okay, I'm sorry that things are going for you, but going this way for you. But I think that there's a lot of things that we have to discuss fully before we say this, that, and third. Now, you pose a lot of good questions. I'm wondering why some of these fights are being made too. But I just, I would like to see Canelo in there with somebody like Bivol at this point, somebody who's going to pose a real decent challenge to him. I don't see Andrade doing that. And Imran, though, yeah. I love Charlo. Yeah. I love them all. I love them guys. But right now, Canelo is like Pink Floyd, Welcome to the Machine. He's the machine. He's the machine right now, dude.
And he's hard. Canelo's getting better and better.
Christian,
but I'm about to go here.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
Okay, so what was the question again?
No, it wasn't a question. I was just kind of piggybacking off some of your points. Again, I think you had some very controversial but some very thought-provoking points that should be considered, because there are a lot of questions about Canelo that like you said, after he beat Danny Jacobs, Andrade was right there. That's how we see it, and that's over here in America, that's kind of how we see it. I don't know what happened. I ain't here to say who ducking who did what, when, where, how, but Andrade was there. For some reason, he vacated and made his moves after that. But man, shit, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Go ahead though.
Okay, well, I see an interesting question here about someone wants to know about Canelo's counterpunching ability. Canelo's an excellent counterpuncher, but Canelo is effective when he's in range in the pocket. That's what I'm saying. Someone like Andrade, who's got fast hands, nimble feet, can keep Canelo at a distance the entire fight and off balance because of his reach, hand speed, and foot movement. That's how you beat Canelo.
Does he have a power though, Christian? Does he have the power to really stop Canelo from pressing the fight? Because the reason why I ask is because Amir Khan said that, and Amir Khan had the goods. He had the skills to pay the bills. I don't think nobody on here is gonna question Amir Khan's his ability to scrap. That dude could squabble, and he said that he was hitting Canelo with everything he had. He said Canelo it was like Canelo was oblivious. It was like almost like Canelo didn't even know he was getting hurt.
Well, you have to understand, Khan moved up. Amir moved up 2 weight classes.
He also said Canelo's actually really,
so of course,
really fast.
His power wasn't going to translate to middleweight. And you also have to understand as well that if Khan had a chin and had defense, he would have won that fight.
But Canelo was getting really better.
He was outboxing Canelo at a distance.
Canelo was getting better over the last 3 rounds. He could have won them. He was getting a lot better. People just seem to think Khan was outboxing him until Canelo caught him. That's not true. I've watched the fight.
No, Canelo was outboxing him. Canelo was outboxing him. What happened was he caught Khan with a body shot and slowed Amir Khan down, and then he took over.
Yep.
Countering him. He was countering him.
No, but what I think I mean is you could make a case that Khan virtually won every round in that fight.
You could say Khan won them, but you can also say Canelo won those last 3. Canelo was getting a lot better countering him.
Not the last 3.
Maybe 1 or 2 at max.
I would agree with him, man. I don't think you can give him the last 3. No, you can't give him the last 3. No.
Last 3 or last 2, but
no, you can't. No, last 1 or last.
Christian, put it this way: if Khan was the same size as Canelo, just say they were the same size, right? Right. Just like Canelo didn't have such a big advantage.
I'm not having this. Canelo's 5'7". He's not.
Yeah.
I don't think he's 5'8", Ray. He's not that big, Canelo. Not that big.
He's not that big. He's really short. He's really 5'7". He's not 5'8".
He's not 5'7".
But it doesn't matter. I mean, Canelo's being tall doesn't mean anything. He's being taller fighters.
Right? Andre's bigger. Andre's taller. He's 6 foot, Christian.
He's 6'1".
6'1". Okay, yeah. So he's a lot taller than Canelo Alvarez. He's got a lot of physical advantages over Canelo Alvarez, right? But the thing is, it's like I just don't see when Canelo gets on the inside and starts landing body shots. I just feel like.
I think Andre's gonna wilt. I think Andre's gonna wilt and fall.
Andre's not gonna let him fight on the inside.
Of course,
once it goes past 6. And
Andre hasn't got the legs. Andre hasn't got the legs to keep away from Canelo. He hasn't got the power either.
Well, why do you think he was holding Liam Williams constantly after those 6 rounds? He couldn't even move.
Liam Williams is 5'11". He's a bigger guy than Canelo.
But this fight has nothing to
punch output and kept coming forward, walking through bombs.
This fight has nothing to do with it. This fight has nothing to do with it. What about Canelo's body punches? That slows you right down. It slowed Saunders down.
But you have to get in range to hit to the body.
We've seen Andre get hit with body shots all the time. In the head, yeah, he's quite hard.
We're talking about the Liam Williams fight, am I correct?
Yeah. But also, you keep missing that off the ring. For some reason, you don't like talking about that.
But the thing is, as I said,
Andre's
Andre is going to use the jab and his fast hands at a distance to snipe at Canelo. And then Canelo's going to have to get in rings to counter. But he's going to have problems with that because he's slow-footed.
What makes you think Andre's smart enough to do all that? He hasn't shown any of that, that's for sure. Especially to a level of Canelo who is not basic, like Liam Williams.
Listen, guys, I still say Canelo is basic. Canelo can't fight off the back foot. He can't fight from different angles. He only comes forward with pressure counterpunching.
What, so do you think footwork? So you think footwork's everything? It's
footwork
not
is the foundation of boxing.
Right. And yeah.
How can you
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example why footwork is so important.
He may be on his feet, but
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example why footwork is so important.
There's counterpunching, precision, timing. There's a lot of things. That's why Golovkin was so
successful.
That's why Golovkin was so successful.
How can you be an effective counterpuncher but only fight coming forwards?
That's how he fights. He fights coming forward. Watch the tape.
Okay.
So, guys, let me just put in this. Guys, you know what? Firstly, in the comment section, let's keep the comments respectful, because even though you may not agree with Christian's making his points from his point of view, and he's not necessarily wrong. We haven't seen them fight yet, right? So keep the comments respectful. It takes a lot of bottle for somebody to come on and give their side of their story or their side of events, right? It takes a lot of balls. So keep the comments respectful. He's making educated opinions on what he thinks, right? That doesn't mean that you have to agree with it, but to be disrespectful is wrong, right? He's going against the grain, and he believes that Andrade beats Canelo. That's not necessarily wrong. I don't agree with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's wrong. So let's keep the comments in the comment section respectful, because he's entitled to his opinion.
Dondada, sorry. I was just about to say, Dondada, that's a very good point, actually, about Canelo's feints. Yeah, Christian, what do you think of Canelo's feints? Because that gives a lot of fighters problem. It makes them very wary and everything.
Well, the feints are effective if Canelo's in close, okay? Because then he's in range and he can hit you. But if you have him at a distance, it's less effective. Now, when you look at Andrade's height and length, it's not going to be a problem because he's going to be at a distance, because he can just stick his arm out and he can hit him, but Canelo can't counter unless he cuts the distance simultaneously. And that's the problem. It's all about the distance.
We've seen Canelo cut the ring off, though, very well with fighters.
I'm not talking about cutting off the ring. I'm talking about dealing with the distance in order to counter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Obviously, he can cut the ring off so he can get close to use those feints.
And if Liam Williams can hit Andre, Canelo is going to hit him.
But again, Liam Williams is a bad comparison. Williams is 5'11", and he just kept coming straight forward like a bull, taking bombs. And he had a high punch output. Canelo doesn't fight that way.
Okay, then. Yeah, right, that's true. But what about Varnes Martirosyan? Didn't he counter Andrade and drop him? Canelo,
it was a flash knockdown, but Andrade won that fight. And Varnes at that time was a beast. He was undefeated.
So is Canelo. Canelo's a beast. Canelo's a beast as well. You don't think Canelo's a beast, but you think...
I think he's overrated. I think he's overrated. I think he's a hype train. I've been watching Canelo for a long time. And he's a hype train.
He's been fighting good fighters, and he's pound for pound. I don't know how you can see him being...
If we break down... Listen, if we go through his entire resume, it's a farce.
Christian, I've got a question for you. Who's your top 5 pound-for-pound fighters now?
Skill-wise?
Well, just your pound for pound doesn't matter.
Just your pound, no, just your pound for pound. Just like as you do resume, skill. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys one you guys aren't gonna expect. Jerron Boots Ennis. That guy is his talent level. He's the king right now at 147.
Are any of the top 5 European fighters?
European fighters?
Yeah. Like Lomachenko, Alexander Usyk, guys like them? Or is it?
I would say Lomachenko.
You'd say Lomachenko. Okay. Do you have Boots over Lomachenko?
Yes. I think Boots.
Okay. All right. Right. I've got a lot of things to say about that.
No, hang on, Mackay. Ask them a question. I want to see.
Go on, Christian.
You guys,
top 5. Let's.
Okay. I would have to put in Spence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jermell Charlo.
Okay. Yep.
Crawford.
Okay. Yep.
I think Josh Taylor.
Okay.
He's up there.
Fair enough.
And
Ray, what you got to say about that? Because I've got a lot to say about that.
Well,
I got something to say about it too.
I'm surprised he's got Josh Taylor in there. After the way he's going on,
yeah.
Hey, he's undisputed. He's undisputed.
Yeah,
know,
yeah. But he doesn't have your fighting style, though, Christian. He doesn't really have your fighting style.
He doesn't, but he's undisputed, and he fought. I forgot who he fought at 140. I forgot his name. He was a good fighter too, and he beat him.
Prograde.
Yeah, Prograde. Yeah. That was a good fight. That was a good win.
Yeah, that was a very good win. Okay, why do you have Jaron Boots Ennis over Lomachenko?
Okay. Well, right now, if you watch the tape, Boots Ennis is ambidextrous. He fights southpaw. He fights orthodox. He's got power in both hands. Crawford fights the same way, but this guy, he can knock you out with both hands. He's super slick defensively, better than Crawford. This guy's like Terrence Crawford on steroids. So just looking at what I see, he could beat Errol Spence today if they were to fight. He's the best guy at 147. But if you like child support services.
Do you know what? There's nothing bad about you thinking he's the best at welterweight. Okay, then you can think that. But Boots Ennis, you need to understand, he's a huge weight bully, who fights midgets. So, there's no way he's pound for pound.
Spence. Come on, Makai, we got to keep it consistent. Spence also is a weight bully.
Yeah, but I don't have Spence in the top 5, and especially don't have Lomachenko. We're talking about Boots Ennis, he's very flashy, but there's no way he's over Lomachenko. We've seen Lomachenko go against really good fighters, make them quit with his great footwork. He's so smart, and obviously he had all that experience from the amateurs. That's why he's so successful.
I think
why did Loma dump the WBC belt for the franchise belt over Wade Haney?
Loma even said that wasn't his fault. He had no choice.
Oh no, that's nonsense.
Do you really think
Lomachenko?
Christian, Makai's right. Just because he did that doesn't necessarily, we're talking about skills here for pound, which is what you're talking about. I still haven't seen enough of Jaron Ennis to say that he's got more skill than Vasily Lomachenko.
What about Lomachenko's defense?
So him giving up the belt has got no bearing on his skill set, surely. Because you're talking about, I heard someone say there that Ennis is special. Well what's Lomachenko?
Yeah. No, Lomachenko's. What I'm saying is, Christian. Ray. I believe that Lomachenko obviously is a lot more accomplished than Ennis. Ennis is just starting. He hasn't even won a title yet. But I do agree with Christian, and Stephen thinks the same way. Jaron Boots Ennis is the next coming in box. I've seen enough of Boots Ennis. This guy is better than Spence, in my opinion. I believe he's going off the eye test, right? And we still, again, the resume is not good enough. He hasn't fought the top guys. But what I'm seeing in that guy looks special to me, Ray. I'm being honest.
What about Virgil Ortiz? I think Virgil Ortiz
Boots Ennis.
Boots is better than Ortiz, like.
He'd destroy him.
What? Have you not seen how great Ortiz is?
No, he'd destroy him.
Boots would beat Ortiz.
No way.
He's special. But the fact is, Christian, I can't put him in my top 5 because I don't think I know you're doing it on skill. I don't think he's accomplished yet. He hasn't accomplished.
I get you. It is true that his resume is lacking, but it's not his fault because Crawford won't fight him. The top guys at 147 don't want no smoke with him. It's the problem with the state of boxing.
Like Christian. All right, check it out, man. You made some very good points, man. In reference to Boots Ennis, man. Here's the thing, man, with Boots. Okay, Boots is a newcomer. That dude look like the second coming of Christ, man. That dude looks incredible. That dude's a straight up killer. But with that being said, he gotta run the gauntlet. He gotta earn the stripes. So let him get on in there in the welterweight division. Start mixing it up. A good fight. I like to see him, perhaps with Jamal James or Virgil Ortiz, and start climbing the ranks that way. And then once he beats like somebody like Ugas or somebody like Keith one time 30, then we could say
exactly.
Jaron Boots Ennis.
I agree with you. You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
But as far as what I'm saying, in your pound for pound list is your pound for pound list, and that's shit. I respect it, man. Me personally, you know, I get a lot of flack. I'm like the old school Christian of this channel. You know what I'm saying? You gonna took my place. You didn't like the villain now. But I love it. I love your thought process, man. You got a lot of controversial thought processes. That you say a lot of stuff that shit a lot of people may think, but they don't have the guts to say. So I respect you on that note. You know what I'm saying? But as far as Lomachenko, you know, as far as his accomplishments at this point, you almost have to. Well, I almost had to rank him above Jerron Boots, Ennis. You know what I'm saying? At this point, you know what I'm saying? Word up.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
How you feel about that, Christian?
The thing about Loma is, you know, he needs to fight Haney. He needs to fight some of those dogs at lightweight. He has to.
For Lopez,
Yes, and Lopez too. All of them. There's too much ducking going on.
I don't think Loma.
And you know what? That was one of my concerns about Lomachenko too. And that's a good point. You know what I'm saying? Because I was never almost, you know, and I know Makai, he probably gonna feel some way about it, but I kind of always saw through Lomachenko. But he did a great job when he stepped up and he fought Teofimo. But what I seen in that Teofimo fight, I just seen him outclassed. I seen him outgunned. I seen him out. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say here. I just think it was a really bad game plan.
1 minute, 1 second. Let me make his point. Let Steven make his point. It was 7-5, Steven. It was a close fight.
It wasn't 7-5. It was. I didn't see it that way. Now you may have seen it that way. I didn't.
So how did you see it?
There was no way he was winning that fight. But you know what? Listen. There's a caveat. The caveat is this. Guys, listen to me. He redeemed himself when he fought Nakatani.
Yeah.
And he outclassed Nakatani. Oh, and he knocked Nakatani's ass out. He redeemed himself.
I didn't expect him to beat Nakatani like that. He redeemed himself. Yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm back looking at Loma, but I don't think Loma got, you know, he ain't got nothing coming if he fight Gervonta Tank Davis. He going night. He going to sleep.
No. What makes you think he's dangerous fight? Oh, it's a dangerous fight, no doubt. Tank's a beast. But what makes you think he's going to catch Loma with that? Loma's not exactly a very easy guy to hit with his footwork and his head movement and everything. And all I got to say is that the Lopez.
He gonna catch him in that little bird chest he got, and he gonna cave it in, and he going night. He going to sleep.
Okay then. You can think what you can think what you think. I mean, it's not a bad thing to say.
You want to bet some money? If that fight ever comes, I want to bet you, Makai. I want to bet you some money. He going to sleep, dude.
100. I'll bet with you if they fight. Well, Davies needs to stop ducking him first.
I'll be careful, Makai. Steven's got a piece.
Yeah, but Davies, he needs to stop ducking him. Davies, you know, he said like 2017, 2018, 2019 they will fight him, but obviously it still hasn't happened. Loma, I know Loma wants to fight him, but you know,
y'all got pounds, we got dollars over here. So how many pounds? We do some pounds.
I'm gonna come
I think Loma stops Davies.
And then I'm gonna come to Christian, then come to Ray. I want to ask you both a question, and then Stephen, Makai, you can answer this as well. Yeah. Christian, you had Jamel Charlo on your pound for pound list, right? What did you make of his fight with Brian Castano?
I thought he lost.
Right. What do you think he did wrong? What do you think he did wrong in that fight?
He didn't listen to his trainer. He should have stayed off the ropes. He should have he should have fought better behind his jab. Not be so predictable. Had he just listened to what James was telling him, he would have won that fight. I think if they rematch, he's going to win the rematch.
Fair enough. I do agree. I think he wins the rematch. Ray, I know you've got a way of, you think a certain way about Castano and
Castano.
Charlo. Yeah. Go on, give you a point.
Yeah, I think Castano won the fight. I thought he won the fight by 2 rounds out of 150, 130 in the Castano. I think Charlo was on the ropes because Castaño cut off the ring, and that's a sign of somebody being falling victim to cutting off the ring. Your back's on the ropes, and Castaño does it really well. I think the problem was a lot of people underestimated Castaño, including Charlo, and I think Charlo got some newfound respect for Castaño's power. Now, I'm not saying he's a heavy puncher, no, but what I'm saying is when he does, because Castaño throws a lot of shots, he does land with quite a few, and those ones that he did land on did hurt Charlo. Charlo did rock him in the second round, in the 10th round. I think Charlo probably should have finished him. He had him hurt, he had him rocked. He was there to be taken, but he didn't step on it. And what Christian has said well there, and I agree with him, is Charlo's best moments came off the jab. So he should have just stuck on his jab all night, and he should have just pushed Castaño back, because that was the way to beat him. But he just didn't do it. He just didn't do it consistently enough. If he can make those adjustments in the rematch, then yeah, obviously he can win. And I just think Castaño's a lot smarter than what people think.
Christian, you know what? I personally think that I've said this about Jermell Charlo. That I think he's better at the other Charlo. I think he's better than his brother.
Yeah,
Jamal.
I agree.
Here's a problem what I have with Jermell, right? I think he has a very good trainer who will go back and look at the tape and they'll make adjustments. And I personally think he'll beat Castaño in the rematch. However, I think Jermell Charlo struggles to make adjustments during fights.
That's true.
And we saw that against Harrison, right? And then they went back, looked at tape, came back with a game plan, and they were more aggressive, and they got Harrison out of there in the rematch. So, do you think that's a big flaw? Do you think he'll develop that as he gets more experience, or do you think that's just a flaw he has as a fighter? He struggles to adjust.
I don't think he's going to do it at his age. Right. I don't think he's going to change his stripes at this point.
Right. So
I just don't.
So do you think there's more chances of him taking losses if the road's not going his way? He may not be able to adjust.
Yes. But what I like about him is that he ducks no one.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. He's fought everybody. I got respect for Charlo. I like Charlo. I got respect for him.
I like Jermell as well. I like him a lot more than his older brother.
If I was Jermell, I would move up to 160 and I would ask for a fight with Andre. There's a lot of bad blood there, and there's money to be made in that fight today.
Wasn't he actually scheduled to fight Andre ages ago, Jermell?
They had what happened. Yeah, they were supposed to fight in 2013, but a contract was never made, or the legal binding contract wasn't reached because of financial terms that weren't agreed upon. But Jermell had incurred costs for the fight.
Yeah,
and I don't know why he did that, because there was nothing ironclad in place.
Who do you think would have won the fight? That would have been a good fight.
I think if they were to fight today, I think Andre wins that fight.
Yeah, but who do you think would have won back then? Do you still think Android?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'd go with Android as well.
I think stylistically he's all wrong, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's all wrong for Charlo, I think.
Definitely.
Charlo struggles against that type of style.
He does.
So the thing is about Jermell Charlo is that if I could just take what you said, Christian, and replay it, it's exactly that. He struggles to make adjustments mid-fight. Fighting off the ropes like he was doing, not using his jab, not listening to Derrick James, cost him that fight, cost him the knockout, because he had Castaño hurt over and over again. But you failed to use the jab, and Castaño just walking you down, just hitting you at will, hurting you, the bigger fighter. That was bad to the judges. That was very bad. Don't you agree, Ray?
Yeah, I do. But I can't for the life of me think why he just didn't stick on his jab. He made it easy for Castaño to push him back onto the ropes, and because he was cutting off the ring, and because he was landing him and he was touching him to the body, of course he was winning the rounds, and that's how I saw it. And I said to you, Stephen, and I said to him, man, no way Charlo won that fight 117, 111. No way.
That was a disgraceful scorecard.
No way.
Yeah, that was bull crap.
The question is, are they going to rematch? What's the story? I mean,
no, I heard they're going to fight mandatories and then have the rematch.
Who knows something about Charlo's mandatory? He's a Russian. He looks really dangerous. Like, he's undefeated.
I hear he's dangerous.
We all know Russians as well. They're always dangerous. And you just look at him as well. He just looks like a dangerous fighter.
No, but this particular mandatory is dangerous. I've heard it from other sources. Yeah,
that's good then. That's good.
But the thing is, no other fight makes sense apart from the rematch.
They've got
this is terrible, man. This is terrible.
The sanctioning bodies need to come to an agreement. They need to develop some sort of system where they have to have undisputed matches or unification matches. At least
that's kind of what I've been saying. I think that they need to try to amalgamize or merge some of the rules and regulations and kind of streamline it, because you just got a free for all. You got mandatories that aren't being met, or bull crap mandatories. You got fights, fighters ducking and dodging each other and stuff like that. And I made this point a couple weeks back that I like what they did with the Super Six with Andre. Remember that Andre Ward? When
I remember that
they were forced to fight each other. And they were forced to try. They need to do something like to implement something like that so we'll really know. Because as it stands right now, guys, we are speaking off of speculation. Who we speculate is doing this, that, and third. But let's try to merge it and put a system in order to kind of organize it, make it more organized, and make it more. And that way, it's coming out to us, the real boxing guys, is more palatable. But a lot of stuff that's going on, man, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Steven, let me make you a point, though. Let me give you an example, right? Can you remember back in the day, 10 years ago, Amir Khan was a unified 140-pound champion. Timothy Bradley was a unified 140-pound champion. Timothy Bradley, for me, ducked that fight to go up and fight Manny Pacquiao. Now, you can't really call him out because he fought a better fighter than Amir Khan in Manny Pacquiao. But for me, that's ducking, because you basically turned down an undisputed fight.
I agree.
Undisputed fight for fighting Manny Pacquiao, when if you're good enough, you beat Khan and then you fight Pacquiao. See, that is ducking for me. That's a problem we have with boxing.
And I agree with you. You're absolutely right.
So why do we make something? Why don't we make it to where that's not permissible, where you can't do that? Why don't we have some? It's too many organizations, and it's the waters have become real muddy, and it's just that's why there's a lot of ducking. Tim Bradley should have never been able to do that. That's horrible.
You're absolutely right. That was a duck.
That was, and then Tim Bradley. The worst thing what really angers me about that, right, is that Tim Bradley now is calling out like Spence and Crawford. You did the same thing when you were in that position, and now you're in a commentator position. Now you're a commentator. You're calling all these fights. You did the same thing. That fight was there. Amir was begging for that fight. Amir's only called out three people he's begged for. He's called out Bradley, a Danny Garcia rematch, Floyd and Pacquiao. Bradley ducked that fight. He ducked it. No doubt about it. And for me, that's a disgrace, because he's a great fighter. He had a great career, but the fact of the matter is, don't call out Crawford, don't call out Spence, don't call out when you did the same thing. And this is the problem we have in boxing, is that a lot of guys are doing that. Now, I don't think you can give someone a pass, like when Christian brought up earlier, where Canelo was, Andrade was champion, and then Canelo went up and fight Kovalev. Why go up and fight Kovalev when you've got a fight there in your division that you're currently operating at? Clean up the business there and become undisputed, just like Josh Taylor's done, just like Mel Charlo tried to do.
I did say something about that, though. It was really about undisputed.
It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating. He's got a point about. I'm not saying Canelo's ducking Charlo or Andrade. I believe Canelo beats everybody. I've said this, but the fact of the matter is that you need to clean up your division, like he's trying to do now at 168. You need to clean up.
If you didn't like it when if Makai, if you didn't like it when Tim Bradley did it, you shouldn't like it when Canelo did it. All right, same.
Just consider this. Imagine how great.
I don't think I said anything about Tim Bradley and Amir Khan.
Well, I'm just saying. You seem like you were kind of contesting it, respectfully. You see, like every time somebody says something about Canelo, it's always some type of magic you pulling for Canelo.
I don't think I said. Okay, what did you make of Makai? What did you make of Tim Bradley and Khan? What did you make of that situation?
I think Bradley. I mean, right. The thing is with Pacquiao, yeah. When you fight him, you're going to get a big payday.
Yeah.
And it's a legacy-defining fight. It's a better fight than Amir Khan.
But wouldn't Khan have been a legacy-defining fight? It was already undisputed.
So I agree with what Bradley done. He fought a tougher fight. He fought Manny Pacquiao. That's a bigger fight. He's getting more money, which is for his family. So that's what I'm saying. So I don't think I ever agreed with the Bradley thing, Stephen. But yeah, as I was saying with the Canelo thing, I've already told you.
Oh, I apologize.
He lost the IBF belt, and his only goal was to be undisputed. Let's just say Charlo had the WBO belt, Andrew had no belt. Let's just say if Canelo beat Charlo, he was undisputed. He wouldn't fight Andre because he even said Andre's a horrible fighter. He doesn't interest him. He'd only be interested if Andre had the belt, which he was in negotiations with. But he just picked Kovalev instead because if he fought Andre, he wouldn't have been undisputed. If he fights Kovalev, he would have been the first Mexican 4-division champion.
Ray, come to you. Did Tim Bradley duck Amir Khan for the undisputed fight? Yes or no?
Absolutely. And he robbed Amir Khan with a chance to make history because Amir Khan would have beaten him. And that's a fact. I can see where Makai's coming from. It's hard because we know how brutal boxing is as a sport. And I know I've said some things about Caleb Plant, but if Bradley's gone for the money, in clearly a bigger fight, and that's what he's done. But I'm old school. I think you should go. You're in boxing to effectively win belts, world titles, and if you've got a chance to be an undisputed champion, bearing in mind there's only been 5 today in the modern era, he should have taken that opportunity. So I do have a problem with Tim Bradley for not taking that fight.
Yeah. I think it's clear. That was a duck. And then Tim Bradley, I think he ducked Spence later on as well when he was mandated for Errol Spence, and he decided to turn that fight. Bradley.
The thing is though, man, we're going off on a tangent again. We're going off the point slightly because at the end of the day, what we're looking at is we're talking about the Charlo and Castano, right? About it. So my point is this: they've got a situation with the mandatories. If they both win their mandatories, then this fight happens. Yeah? It's a little bit like Joshua and Fury. If these two take care of business, then that fight happens because there's no other fight. You've got to remember, there's been nobody undisputed in the light middleweight division, what you guys call super welterweight. There's not been one. So this is a chance to make history. I've got every confidence if they come through their mandatories, this fight will happen.
I don't know. It should happen right away.
But they've got to have the mandatories.
I mean, they're tough mandatories, actually. I mean, Tim Tszyu for Kazakhstan and the Russian for Charlo.
Tim Tszyu's not a good fighter. Let me tell you that now. He's not a good fighter. No.
Listen, gentlemen, I gotta bail. But listen, thank you.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Do it again, man. All right, man. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. Take care, Christian.
Bye.
Yeah, so what were we saying? What about
Tim Tszyu, right? Let me tell you about Tim Tszyu. He looked awful in his last fight.
Do you think?
He was horrific. He was getting tagged.
There's a lot of hype around him, ain't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of hype around
Probably
him.
because his father,
his father. And who is it to fight in Australia? Because he's had all these fights there.
Yeah.
For me, you put him in with somebody half decent at like middleweight, he gets found out.
I've seen a little footage of. I've actually gone back and actually had a look at Tim Tszyu in a lot of detail, and I kind of agree with Ray. I'm not that high actually now. I actually thought, you know what, he was, but then I've gone back and had a look at him closely. Nah, man, I'm not a big fan either.
There's nothing he does technically, his power's not that good.
Because you know, the other day,
yeah,
I was actually disagreeing with you and Carl, if you remember.
Yeah, I know you did.
And I've actually gone back and had a look at footage and looked at him in detail, and I'm like, nah, this guy, nah. You know what I mean? I'm not convinced at all. Actually, I actually think Smith beats him. To be fair,
exactly. That's what me and Carl. That's what me and Carl was saying to you. Liam Smith does a proper job on Tim's.
Yeah.
He does
the only worry is if that fight goes to decision, then he may end up.
Is it going to be in Australia?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Why does he keep on getting fights? Why does he keep on fighting everyone in Australia? I think
because he's a you know what he is? Because he's Australia's
Golden boy.
Yeah. Money cow or cash cow, whatever you want to call it. That's effectively what it is. He's got a lot of backing behind him, and you just said it there, Mikhail, from his start. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's a good fighter.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No,
don't get me wrong. I'm not being disrespectful of that part of the world. There's been some good fighters that have come from there, but I just get a little bit suspicious when you get to like 17-0 or something, all your fights have been over there. You've been stopping everybody, and all of a sudden you start calling out Danny Garcia and Liam Smith.
Yeah,
you know he's not the real deal for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, right. It's kind of is it me? Or that's kind of like how I feel about. I love Cambosa. I think ferocious Cambosa. I think he's a good fighter. But is that kind of how you feel about Cambosa too?
No, because Cambosa came over here and did a job on Lee Selby, and he looked really good. And Cambosa Jr. When you watch Cambosa Jr., he's got a lot of fundamentals that Tim Tszyu doesn't have.
Yeah.
When you watch Cambosa Jr., he's very quick. He's technically very good. He throws great hooks. He can box on the outside. He can do very well on the inside. He's got deceptive power. People are saying, "Oh, he's not very powerful." Trust me, when he hits you, he hurts you. Lee Selby will tell you. Lee Selby was telling people in interviews afterwards that George Cambosa Jr. can punch. So for me, George Cambosa Jr.'s passed the litmus test.
Yeah,
I still think Lopez beats him, but I think Cambosa Jr. will cause a lot of lightweights a lot of problems.
But he doesn't want it though, Ray, does he? Lopez don't want it.
Yeah, but that's not because of Cambosa Jr.'s ability. That's probably because of the fact that he's going to have to go to Australia and he doesn't want to do that.
And also the fact that he's been offered like 7-8 million to fight Lomachenko in a rematch.
Yeah, which I think that's only a couple of million. That's 3, maybe 4 million, so double his purse. Yeah.
But the thing is, though, Ray, what's to say that he won't get paid that going to Australia and they won't put up the money? Because Manny Pacquiao got paid a bomb to go to Australia to fight.
That was Manny Pacquiao.
You don't think Lopez would?
Unless Triller's going to renegotiate things.
Why do Triller want that fight to go to Australia? Because they're also wanting that fight to go to Australia, aren't they?
Because how many fans are you going to get from Australia? A lot. You're going to get like 50,000. You're not going to get 50,000. That's what I'm saying.
Does that mean more revenue, though, Ray?
It depends. It depends.
That mean
I don't know.
I
don't know. I don't know what the Oceania market's like for pay-per-view.
Because I personally think there's a reason why they want to take that fight, because it was not so Cambosis, because Cambosis wouldn't really have a say if that fight goes to Australia. It must be Triller or must be the people behind them that know that there's more money to be made there for this particular fight.
It could be, but Lopez doesn't want to go there. So
yeah, why do you think that is?
I've got no idea. Why does he want to go to Australia? Maybe if it goes to points, he probably thinks he's not going to get the decision. But I kind of think Lopez has got enough power to ensure that you don't need the judges.
I think Lopez probably feels disrespected that he has to go to a challenger's hometown to fight, and I mean this could be a reason. You don't know. You know, he's only like 23, and he's going to go there with no fans, and that could play on someone's mind who's young, which is not good.
I think your first answer is probably better than the second one. To be honest, I think there's probably a little bit of disrespect there because Lopez all of a sudden now thinks he's a god
Here's the thing, Ray. If Manny Pacquiao can go to Australia to fight Jeff Horn as a champion, then Teofimo Lopez can go to Australia to fight.
Well, look,
Manny Pacquiao is a very different breed, mate.
Imran, what was my argument about Amir Khan?
Yeah,
how many times did he fight on the road? How many times does Usyk fought on the road?
Yeah,
that was my argument.
But that's a killer, though. That's what you call a killer. That's basically what Steven says, killer. You're willing to fight anybody, anywhere. You're willing to fight on the moon.
To be fair, Steven calls anyone a killer. you don't need to go on the road. You just need to be a good fighter. You know, you don't need to be on the,
what I mean is it takes a set of, nowadays especially, it takes a set of, cojones to go, because no one's willing to do it.
It does, and I think it would make Teofimo Lopez great.
Yes,
he would be daring to be great if he went to Australia, did a job on Cambosos Jr. in his hometown. That's what Spence did. You know, Spence went to Kell Brook's backyard and ripped the belt from him.
But the thing is, Ray, the thing is with Spence had to do it because Brook was a champion. Now that Spence is a champion, is he going to go to another champion's backyard? That's the thing. Amir Khan fought Peterson when he was the champion. He didn't need to fight Peterson in his backyard. That's what I'm trying to say, that these guys today aren't built like that. They want advantages.
Imran, you're absolutely correct.
They want advantages. They don't want to. Nah, I don't like that, man. It's supposed to be world. It's not just America, like you say, Ray. It's a world heavyweight championship, a world welterweight championship.
I know.
It's world is not America. World is the UK,
exactly.
Australia,
and I've always said this. There seems to be a thing with Americans, and Christian was a little bit like that. For all he said, that was decent. A lot of stuff that he said was rubbish, and there seems to be an opinion. I can't say all of it because Steven's not like that. I'm not just saying that because he's there, because he's tried and tested on this channel. Steven's very non-biased, but there seems to be a lot of Americans that just seem to think the best fighters are American. The best fights needs to happen in America, and if it's not happening in America, it's not happening at all. And Lopez has got a lot of that in him. He has got a lot of that in him, and for me, that's why I like about this Matchroom DAZN deal, because you're going to see the globalization of boxing. The fact that, for example, boxing isn't going to be on times now, which suits the American audience. It's not, so that for me is a big shift away from the American market.
Yeah,
there's going to be fights now in Mexico. There's going to be big fights in other continents, in Europe. There's going to be big fights I can see happening more in Asia with this DAZN deal, and it's not just going to be in Vegas or Madison Square Gardens or in Texas. And I think ultimately Lopez might get away with it now, but I think the fans like us are going to get on his back, and I think within a few years you're going to see fighters just fighting anyway. I think that's been one of the good things to come out of the pandemic. Fighters are probably going to have to fight a little bit more regularly, and they're probably going to get used to just fighting anyway. I think that's slowly but surely going to come in.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just want to see the best fights happen, man. I just want to see the best fight the best, and when it doesn't happen, it's irritating. We've got the situation with Joshua Fury didn't happen. Right now, we've got Canelo Plant that looks like it's slipping through. It's no good, man. It's no good. It's just frustrating because it's damaging boxing that we don't get these fights. It's not good. We need to see the best fight the best. Now, in Canelo's case, we may get a better fight. Who knows? If he fights Bivol, Bivol's better than Plant, or Beterbiev's a more a difficult fight than Plant. But again, we won't get an undisputed.
Yeah, and the thing with the undisputed is it's about making history, because if we had Joshua Fury, a winner out of Charlo and Castaño, and then Plant and Canelo, we would have that's 3. So that's 4 undisputed fights this year, because you've got to include Taylor Ramirez in that. That's unheard of. That's absolutely unheard of.
Well, Jose makes a point. What do you make of this point, guys? Look, man, I'm sorry, but ain't most of the best fighters from North America, USA, and Mexico? Like, I hate it to be true, but it is. Says Jose.
Overall, pound for pound,
the
vast majority of the better fighters, do they come from those areas? Probably, but not all of them. The point I'm making is the point I'm making is there's an arrogance. There's an arrogance around.
Do you think that's because of the history, Ray?
Well, let me tell you something straight. The American amateur system is absolutely terrible. You know me, Imran. I'm not going to swear on your show, but it's horrific. It's horrific. You know, although in I think it was the Olympics in London. Most of them have gone on to become champions, but your amateur setup is terrible. It's not. It's way behind the Europeans. So in terms of the future, you could argue the best ones are coming out from Europe. Do you understand? And also in terms of skill, we're catching up. So whereas Americans dominated in the past, we are talking, Imran, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, but where we're in 2020 now, 2021, 2022 around the corner. So we're moving into a different era. So when you look at the other fighters coming up, a lot of, obviously the British are dominating the heavyweight division. Julie divisions, I can see the Americans really dominating is welterweight and lightweight.
Yeah.
Light heavyweight's dominated by the Europeans. And cruiserweight is dominated by the Europeans. The smaller weights, you've got good fighters from Japan, the Philippines. So you're discounting those as well. So in a way, you could say yes to where he's coming from, but you could also say no because of the points that I'm putting across.
I think. Go on.
Well, I was just gonna say some of the best fighters, man. They come from overseas. You look like Usyk. I mean, look at fighters like what's not to love about Usyk? What about Bivol? What about Beterbiev? All those. Those are some of my favorite fighters. I like to look at. I know y'all feel a certain type of way about Conor, but shit, he's one of my favorite fighters. I like looking at him. I like
Conor McGregor.
Conor Benn. No,
Conor Benn. Right. I thought you meant Conor was in Conor McGregor from Conor Benn, right?
Yeah.
He's not one of Ray's favorite fighters, that's for sure.
No.
He's not one of Ray's favorite fighters, and we're from the UK.
No.
But I'm just dispelling that fact that, saying American fighters are the top guns. That's really not the case, man. I think we need to look at boxing for the sport and love boxing for the sport of boxing. Not so much. Stop being so territorial. Because this, why you being so territorial, you missing out on good fighters, man. Look
and this
at
is the thing, Stephen. This is why we like having you on, because you see the bigger picture. Where a lot of Americans think if you're not fighting in America, you're no good. You see what I mean? Like we knew about Golovkin's abilities before he came to America. And it's same like Joe Calzaghe's a classic one. Joe Calzaghe was great, but because he came to America in his later career, the Americans, I feel, only got to know him because of his last two fights.
Yeah.
It's the same with. It's the same with lots of fighters, and that's why I think a lot of Americans think Tyson Fury cheated, because when you look at what a lot of them say, they say, "Oh, I've never seen Tyson Fury fight so aggressive." Well, that's because you never saw Tyson Fury fight until he fought in America, when he fought against Otto Wallin and stuff like that.
But they saw him fight aggressive, Ray. They saw him against Steve Cunningham. He battered Steve Cunningham in that fight.
Yeah, he did, but he did get floored off Steve Cunningham.
He did.
Yeah, but we the vast majority of people who saw that fight was people in the UK, because that fight was on Channel 5. That fight was on Channel 5. There wasn't that many Americans that actually saw that fight.
But wasn't that in America though?
Yeah, but that didn't have the same magnitude. As Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury wasn't as known then. This is what I'm saying. So it would have only been the hardcore fans, and obviously that was quite well. It wasn't so early in his career, but when I'm on about Tyson Fury being aggressive, look at the second fight against John McDermott.
Yeah,
that was very, very early on, because he lost the first fight, in my opinion. But he
had to be very aggressive in the second fight. Oh hell, you could take somebody like Lawrence Okolie. I mean, he's one of the top cruiserweights, and I've always been,
I think he beats all the cruiserweights, Lawrence Okolie. I'm not saying who's got the machine in the background.
I think it's Mackay.
All right. Look. If you look at Lawrence Okoli, I'm not saying it because I'm British. I just think his power sets him apart from everybody else in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah.
I think he's too big for everybody. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean he's a messy fighter, man. I mean once you get inside Lawrence Okoli, you've got a very good chance. But I think McGuigan is sharpening him up in that respect. But his power's serious.
Ray, let me get this out there. That I think Bradis could beat him.
Really?
I think Bradis could beat him. Yeah, I think he's the only one at cruiserweight that I can see beat him.
Yeah. He probably is the only one, but I still think that Okoli will beat him.
That's a 50-50 for me. That's a good one.
Okoli's pretty good.
Bradis isn't Bradis moved up to heavyweight now?
Yeah, he has. But I think if that fight got offered to him, I think he would take it.
Yeah. He's the lineal champion at cruiserweight.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry. What's his name? Bradis. He's the lineal champion. He's seen as the consensus number one. So really, Coley's got to beat him to be seen as the number one, in my opinion, because Bradis had a split. I think he had a split or majority decision with Usyk. That was a close fight. Bradis did. He's a good fighter. Bradis really good. Do you think Lawrence Okoli beats Usyk?
Who said that?
A cruiserweight if Usyk was to come back down.
Heavy. Usyk's not coming back down to heavy. I mean, sorry, back down to cruiser.
Well, okay, so you're asking if Okoli steps up?
Yeah.
Probably. I think Usyk would be too smart for him.
Yeah.
Okoli's he has a large frame. He's hella powerful. I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with if he ever did want to go heavyweight, but he should stick to cruiser for the moment.
I think what Steven's just about to say is Okoli lacks a lot of experience. You know, he really has been fast tracked because of his power. I think Usyk's ring IQ is going to be greater than anything Okoli's ever faced. And I think Okoli will just be looking to get him out of there. And I think Usyk's too smart for that against someone who's inexperienced like Okoli. That's going to be the difference. It's going to be experience.
I can't wait for the Usyk Joshua fight, Ray. I think that's a great fight. I'm really excited.
I know.
I know you.
I was Imran. I was away at the weekend because I was away with Emma, and I watched that video with you and Carl and Andy on last spell,
mate.
And and they were saying that you said you had a U-turn, but I was screaming at my phone saying, but no.
Wasn't I the first one that actually said that I think Usyk can beat him?
Well, Andy was the first one, but you did say that Usyk beats AJ. So I remember it was me and Carl saying no, AJ beats.
But
Usyk.
Andy didn't say Usyk beats AJ. I'm openly saying I think I would.
Andy does, because Andy's basically saying Andy definitely did, because Andy said that AJ struggles with smaller fighters. And you think Usyk's all wrong for him.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know what I mean? But I'm just get this inkling, man. I think Usyk is very special. I do. I think we're gonna see that against Joshua. He may lose. He may get down to size, and he might get knocked out. Who knows?
He gonna get beat by Joshua.
Let's see.
He will.
Am I the only one here picking Usyk then?
No,
I'm picking Usyk.
Oh yeah. Nice.
No, it's Joshua.
But you know what? It's a lot. You know what? It's a lot of people seem to think that Usyk wins this fight. It's like, I would say it's about a 60-40 split in Joshua's favor. I think there's a lot of people. Ray, have you seen that? Have you noticed that there's a lot of people out there that think Usyk got a chance?
Yeah, I do know there's a lot of people. A lot of my friends think Usyk. You know, even my dad, who's very, very knowledgeable about boxing, he'll tell you that he thinks Usyk wins this fight.
Really? Your dad?
Yeah. My dad's rarely been wrong. Carl will tell you that. But he thinks Usyk wins. But no, I think AJ does. I think AJ
knows his boxing. Your dad knows he's picking it there. I honestly, I've been saying it for I think Usyk might beat him all. He may only come unstuck against Fury because Fury's too big, you know, and he's also very sick. But again, what do you make of Fury, man? What do you make of Fury? He's not defended his title ever. He's not.
I know. I've
It's
said
becoming
that.
embarrassing now.
He's never ever defended a title. The thing what annoys me about him, skill wise, he's head and shoulders above everyone in the heavyweight division. Yes, it's a poor division, but he is head and shoulders above them all. He just, for some reason, whether it's his mental makeup or his attitude, his application, or what have you, but he's making himself look bad to the point where those Wilder fanboys that are coming out with all these silly accusations of cheating, it's giving them a stronger argument, because what they're saying now is, oh, he's ducking Wilder. Because he never had COVID. I don't buy that for 1 minute.
I'm just I don't know with Fury. You know, Fury, I believe I come on the same page as you, Ray. I think he's the best heavyweight, but he's you can make a case Joshua's number one. Look at his resume. He's gonna fight another guy in Usyk. I know he hasn't fought Wilder and Fury, who are seen as the consensus 1, 2, and 3. You know, him, Wilder, and they're seen as the top 3. But the fact is though, Fury, apart from fighting Klitschko and Wilder, which obviously are the two guys, his resume is very thin compared to AJ. Virtually everyone.
I think Tyson Fury is very overrated. Okay, he's a bit overrated. Yeah, that's for sure. He's definitely overrated. As soon as he beat Wilder, who in Fury's own words is a hype job and is a one-trick pony. Yeah, he gets Fury, Tyson Fury can beat Mike Tyson. He's one of the greatest. You need to admit that as well. People were saying that.
Is Wilder a hype job? What's your opinion?
Yes, Wilder's a hype job. Absolutely. Wow. As soon as he fought someone good, he got beat.
I think his boxing ability is terrible.
Yeah. But
to call him a hype job, I mean, he's knocked out everyone that he's faced, bar Fury. And he had 10 defenses of his WBC belts, which kind of makes him, I don't like it, but it makes him a Hall of Fame material. So is he a hype job? Yeah, you could say he is. Yeah, because if you put him in with somebody that can box and evade his power, he's not beating them, Imran. He's not beating them, and that's a problem. The heavyweight division's so weak. He makes them look unstoppable, and it showed that you don't need boxing ability to get 10 defenses of a WBC. You know, that's unheard of. If you look at the era of the 70s and the 80s, that would never happen. You couldn't just knock everyone out on power alone.
I think he would beat everyone, though. I think he would beat Joshua and Fury. I think he beats everyone comfortably, to be honest. I don't really see many guys beating him.
I mean...
hang on. Did I hear you say you don't see anybody beating Wilder?
Bar Fury and Joshua.
Oh, right. I thought you said anyone at all.
I think, and by the way, you know my opinion about Wilder and Joshua, right? It's for me, that's a.
But he's not. He's not skilled, and this is one of the very few points I could agree with Christian on. When you look at skill set and you judge a boxer pound for pound, you know, Wilder has no skill whatsoever. His feet are terrible. His defense is awful.
Is power a skill, Ray?
No. I tell you why. Because power can come from technique. You can be very technical and not have destructive power. Look at there's 3 different. Look at Inoue, then look at Wilder, then look at Canelo. Right? They've all got some degree of power. Inoue has power with skill. Wilder just has power. Canelo has skill. Do you see what I mean? And he's got technique. That's where Canelo's power comes from. Not his thick setness.
Angle locking.
You don't think Wilder's right hand, though, is great technique?
No,
it's not really.
No, because you see it coming from a mile off.
When he throws that right hand, when he throws that right hand straight, like he did with Brazil, you don't think that's technique?
Nah,
it wasn't really good. No,
Nah.
I mean, if Wilder had good technique, his power would be so good.
Sometimes just throws and hopes for the best. You can tell by his feet. You know, when you throw a right hand, it's leg work, man. You know yourself when you've been in the gym. You know, you move your hip, you twist your back, and then the last thing you get thrown is your hand. But Wilder just does it back to front. He kind of just throws his hand and hopes for the best. He's quick, and that's why he catches people off guard, because they don't see the shot coming. But he's got technique. If you were going to teach your son how to box, you wouldn't be showing him Wilder throwing a right hand, would you? He's a heavyweight. You'd be showing him George Foreman, Ernie Shavers, Joe Louis.
So what you
punchers?
saying?
You wouldn't be showing them Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that what you're saying, Ray, is more of a talent as opposed to a learned skill.
Deontay Wilder he's obviously got power, but that's all he's got. You know, in terms of talent, in terms of nature versus nurture, Deontay Wilder's not naturally talented. No.
So Ray, here's the thing, though, Ray.
Yeah.
Wilder, do you think he's gone away from his skill? He won a bronze medal. He won a bronze medal. He can't be that. You can't win a bronze medal if you have no skill at all. There's good guys in the heavyweight division at the Olympic Games. There's no way anyone just goes and wins a bronze medal if they don't have some kind of skill. Don't you think, Ray?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. But unfortunately, that's not translated to the professional ranks because he's relied on his power.
Yeah, but why? That's what I mean. Is it an arrogance thing? Is it
yeah, of course it's arrogance.
What I'm saying. Is he not good enough, or is it as arrogant? This is what I'm trying to get. I don't quite understand that with Deontay. Is it an arrogance? Is it an arrogance, the fact that he just feels that I'm going to land my right hand somewhere in 36 minutes? Or is it the fact that he's just not good enough?
It's a bit of both because he's so overly confident he lands his right hand. He doesn't do anything else. And when he's been backed up like he was against Fury, when he was struggling against Ortiz, I didn't see anything else in his arsenal. I didn't see a plan B or a plan C. And that's the difference for me. When you look at Golovkin, when Golovkin realizes that he couldn't get you out of there, I saw plan B. With Julian Jackson, with Jerry McClellan, I saw plan B. Yeah, with other punches, you know, with Inoue, I see a plan B. Even Tank has a plan B. Deontay Wilder's got no plan B. And
you don't think he has a plan B?
Well, you tell me what Wilder's plan B. I don't want to see a plan B with Wilder.
Well, I think he's a pretty decent boxer. You know, he's not the best. You know, he ain't Ray Leonard or he ain't nobody like that. But he ain't a bad little old boxer, man. I mean, he ain't just trash. He decent, ain't he? Would you at least give him that, Ray? Come on, man.
Here's the thing, though, Stephen. Every time Wilder's been in the ring, bar the Stavern fight, he's always been outboxed. He's never really been.
He's not Stavern into last year. Stavern is still knocked out.
No, I'm saying first fight, that was the only time I felt he won the fight on points. Ever since, I feel like he's even against Gerald Washington, I felt like he was losing that fight.
Yeah.
So, but then having said that, that Stavern performance was really disciplined. He fought a great fight behind the jab, and he showed skills in that fight. So how has he gone from that to getting outboxed by Gerald Washington? I don't get it.
And in the first
Tyson Fury
fight, he showed a lot of skill too. The first Tyson Fury fight, he showed a lot of skill in that fight.
He was missing. I didn't see any skill in that fight.
All right, man. You don't even want to give him that, man. Come on. Just give him that.
No. I think Tyson.
Man, yeah.
If Tyson Fury wasn't knocked down, in the last round, you would have been looking at one of the greatest comeback wins of all time. Considering,
I still think Fury won that anyway.
Yeah, I thought Fury won.
I think he was a lot closer than what people thought.
I think he won too. It wasn't
I thought he won. I don't think it was as wide as what people thought because he knocked him down twice in the fight. And really, he only needed one. I don't know whether I can't remember now. I don't know if he won another one round, but he only needed one round or so to make it close, because then what would it meant? Those would have been 10-8 rounds, right, Ray?
Yeah. But listen, Imran, that fight, are you telling me that you know, for Wilder to knock Fury down twice and then to get a draw?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's
agree, man. I agree.
And he's a champion. I think that says it all.
Yeah. I think it's not even that. The fact is that you knock somebody down twice and you're getting a draw. Even if it was legitimately a draw, that shows that you're boxing. That means you've been outboxed, right?
Exactly. That's the point I'm making, Imran. That's the point that I'm making. You know. So that answers your question about, you know, what I think of Deontay Wilder and a couple of questions you've asked there.
But here's the thing, Ray. Do you think?
What did you say?
Do you think there's anyone else in the heavyweight division that can do what Fury did, though?
Not sustain it for 12 rounds, I don't think. I mean,
that's the
thing. I mean, Andy Ruiz has got a decent bit of skill. He could cause Wilder problems, but Wilder probably get to him. You know, all this talk about, you know, I mean, for me, he beats.
What about Dillian White?
No, you see, because Dillian White, I think that's a 50-50 fight, because for me, it's about who lands first. Because Dillian White is very, very wild. Do you see what I mean? His defense is quite poor, but he's quite strong and he's quite powerful. The reason why I give Dillian White a bit of a chance in that fight is because he can bully Deontay Wilder. He's not afraid of anything. Dillian White, he can walk forward and just have it with you, but he gets caught. He's sloppy defensively. He's very wild. He fights like a doorman, like a bouncer, you know, a nightclub bouncer. He just thinks, oh, I'm massive, I'll just walk forward. That's pretty much how Dillian White, you know, it's not really educated pressure, Dillian White. And that's why I think Joshua beats him every day of the week if they fight again.
Ray, Jose says, I think he beats White but loses to Ruiz. Your thoughts on that?
I could see why you would think Wilder would lose to Ruiz. I mean, Ruiz has got a lot of skill. He's very quick. The Ruiz of old, not the last fight, the Ruiz of old. You know, if he can keep discipline, yeah. But Andy Ruiz likes to exchange on the inside.
Yeah, I think both of them get knocked out, to be honest.
And I think that might be his undoing, because all what Deontay Wilder needs to do is take one big step back and time him and catch him, and it's all over. So that one could go either way. But I just think with Dillian White, the reason why I think that one's more of a 50-50 one is because Dillian White's the only one that can physically put it on Wilder on a back foot. And this is the thing. Boxing, for me, if you're a good boxer, you can box on a back foot equally as well as what you can box on a front foot. And when Deontay Wilder's on a back foot, he doesn't do anything. He just doesn't do anything. He's poor. He's really, really bad. And Fury sensed that. And Fury actually said, if you listen to Tyson Fury in his interviews, and I appreciate the Americans aren't going to see this because this was a lot on the podcast on BBC and on Sky Sports and BT, which are our channels. Tyson Fury said, I know how to beat this guy. I'm going to train with Emmanuel Stewart's nephew, because Emmanuel Stewart had tremendous fighters who knew how to use the right hand. And I'm bigger than Deontay Wilder. I'm going to bully him and I'm going to knock him out using my right hand. And to be fair to Tyson Fury, that's exactly what he did. And that's
exactly what he did.
Yeah, and I think Dillian White will do something similar. You're not outboxing, don't get me wrong, but he's big enough and strong enough to bully Deontay Wilder. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be successful, but he has got those tools to do that fight. And
what
if you're
talking
about
man?
Blueprints, I think he could adopt that particular style that Fury did.
Yeah. What, Dillian White?
Yeah, of course. He's massive. He's 19 stone.
Yeah. I just think the problem is with that they don't have, Ruiz and Dillian White don't have the physical advantages that Fury had. And I think they're shorter, which gives Wilder a better, and they don't move their head. Their movement is terrible. Ruiz and Dillian White are flat-footed. They don't move their head. And I just feel like I think Wilder's going to crack him before they get in. Basically, I think he'll crack him with that right hand. I just don't think they moved there. I don't think they've got the style to cause. And AJ's taller. He's a better boxer than both White and Ruiz. But even him, for example, I wouldn't be confident he beats Wilder because I just feel like that. I feel he could get nailed. And if he does get nailed, I think it's a wrap. And that's why I think that I want to see that fight. Wilder and AJ, I want to see that fight more than even Fury Joshua, to be honest. That fight is on. When I think about it, I just think someone's getting put asleep.
Yeah.
Someone's getting put out in that fight, right? Because it can't. Something's got to give, right, Ray? Something's got to give in that fight, right?
I agree with you. Apart from just because of we were talking about undisputed, and I can't be a hypocrite. If you said to me, Fury and Joshua for the undisputed, or Joshua and Wilder, just to see somebody getting knocked out, I would always go for Fury Joshua.
I'm just talking like stylistically. I want to see that fight so bad because over the years I wanted to see it, but I don't know whether that fight ever happened now. To be honest,
no, I don't see it happening.
It only happens if Wilder beats Fury.
Yeah, God knows what happens
I still think Fury beats him. I think Fury can outbox Wilder and he can put down Wilder.
All I'm going to say is
here's the thing. It wouldn't bother me if, and I know here's the thing. I want Fury to obviously win as a British guy, but if Wilder was to beat Fury, it wouldn't hurt me as much as if Usyk beats Joshua, because if Usyk beats Joshua, then all of a sudden we've got Usyk against one of those guys. Whereas if Wilder beats Fury, then we have Wilder AJ, which is also just as dynamic a fight as Fury Joshua. So I haven't got a problem with that. But if Usyk beats Joshua, then oh man, that's just
Well, this actually shows. Obviously, we got people. Obviously, top four. Obviously, you have people. Most people have Wilder, Joshua, Fury, and Usyk. We're having Joshua fighting Usyk and Wilder versus Fury. The winners of that. Yeah, and whoever wins, that's actually the best heavyweight. I mean, if Usyk beats Joshua, that means, and let's say Fury beats Wilder, those on the top two, those were the legit top two the whole time. We just didn't know. But I mean, that's going to be the true top
Joshua, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So that means you think Usyk's going to fight the winner of Fury Wilder?
Yeah. Well, Usyk, but Usyk has to beat Joshua twice because there's a rematch clause.
Yeah. True.
So,
which is nonsense, by the way. Which is nonsense. I don't think mandatory should have a rematch clause.
Yeah, it's actually illegal. I swear it's illegal, but it's boxing.
I thought a rematch clause only came into play if AJ lost.
Yeah. Rematch clause if he loses. Yeah.
So so if AJ won, Usyk wouldn't get a rematch.
No.
Yeah. That's how it works.
That's terrible, by the way.
It's awful.
Kell Brook didn't have a rematch when he fought Kell Brook.
It's confidence, really.
Mm.
Yeah. Obviously, I won't listen. When you've got cash cow like AJ, you don't want to lose that, right?
Yeah.
The only good thing about this year is that at least AJ's fine, because a lot of people said that AJ would avoid Usyk, and he shut them right up. Like even me, like how Hearn was talking, saying AJ might vacate a belt. I was like, oh my, mate, AJ's going to avoid Usyk, and I'm not going to defend him because I defend AJ a lot. I think he's a very underrated fighter. I think he's very disrespected. And I think Fury's overrated. I think they rate Fury a lot more highly than they do with AJ.
It never used to be the case, It never used to be the case. I remember when Fury was on about fighting David Haye, and no surprise what happened there. Fury pulls out the fight. They'll talk about Haye being injured and all that kind of stuff. But I know Fury didn't. But he pulled out that fight. There's a lot of times in the past where Fury was pulling out of fights, and then he obviously done a job on Klitschko, but then he pulled out that rematch. Look, I like Tyson Fury, but I think the problem with Tyson Fury is his legacy so far is he's never defended the title, and he's got a habit of pulling out of fights.
Yeah,
So that's going to define them. I've already said what defines AJ, so I'm not going to go back into that again. But
what did you say defines him?
What I mean by define him is why people don't like him.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, so I've been into that, but I think with AJ is what people need to understand is no matter how weak this division is, there's 4 belts. AJ's got 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And they weren't handed to him on the plate.
Yeah, he had to beat Klitschko and Parker.
Yeah,
Parker was undefeated, so we didn't. So yeah. And there was
so
a very good point, Adam.
He deserves respect.
Yeah,
I think he's very disrespected. Actually, him. There's a couple of others that Ray knows. I just think that there's you need to respect guy with his resume like that. He's got a great resume. Joshua now.
Yeah.
He's got one of the best resumes in any British fighter in the last 20, 30 years now. So you got to give a guy like that respect because he fights anyone really. He could lose against Usyk, right? And everyone will be like, "Oh, Joshua's a bum. This, that. He lost to Ruiz. Now he lost to Usyk." But they don't realize that he's fighting the best guys with such great resumes, and that.
I think he's the only one now who's got a resume comparable to those of the 90s in the sense of he's fighting everyone that you can, and even the 80s and the 70s. You could even go that far. Yeah. I'm not on about his ability. I'm on about just his resume. He's what I call a throwback fighter. You could say the same about Carl Froch. These type of fighters deserve respect.
Yeah. I don't. That's why I don't agree with what Christian said about resume. I think resume means if you're the more top guys you're fighting, that means you've got experience of fighting the best guys that are going to be opposing threats.
It's a big factor, definitely. I mean, fair enough resumes on with fights, but it's also a big factor. It's not irrelevant. It's very relevant.
Well, the thing is, what Don Dono 555 saying is probably true. If you're going off Christian's logic, then Usyk would beat AJ. But if you're going off, let's just say my logic, he doesn't. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. He seems to look at. It's quite clear that he favours boxers, people that box on the back foot, who have different footwork, and a North American, and even though, don't get me wrong, that funny enough, that's my favourite style of fighting because I think boxing's about hitting people and not getting hit in return. I do actually think you can be skilled coming forward. You can be skilled sitting in the pocket. You can be a puncher and be skilled. Do you understand what I mean? You can be skilled as a volume puncher, as a swarmer. There's 3 different styles in boxing, and you can be equally skilled in all of them. You can get a very skilled puncher against a very skilled boxer, or you can get a very skilled like a swarmer or a volume fighter. So I just don't think that you should just look at those that are back foot boxers and just think, oh yeah, these are the very best. Well, no, they might be the very best of that particular style, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're all the very best. I just think he's biased towards a particular style of boxing, but that's just
nationality.
Exactly, Mikhail, and that's his opinion.
That's what I mean. That's why I didn't want. The people in the comment section were saying, "Oh, well, this, that, I get this guy. But I actually think he made good, educated points from what he thinks from his point of view. He might not be wrong. Andrade might beat Canelo, not in my opinion, but in boxing, I've seen bigger upsets than Andrade beating Canelo. Much bigger upsets. So who are we to say that he's wrong? At the end of the day, he's got his opinion about he feels his style will cause him trouble, and he may well. I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing I want to point out here is the people being hypocrites. Yeah, like these are obviously people saying Canelo, he's just fighting European fighters. They keep on saying that all European fighters are weak. They need to fight guys like Andrade. Look at Andrade's last 4 opponents.
Yeah.
Right, Liam Williams, Silecki. No, Liam Williams, Keeler, Silecki, and Akavov. Guess what? They're all European.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. What I didn't obviously Ray raised this point during when Christian was talking about Callum Smith, that he said, "Who's Callum Smith for?" But then he went back to resume. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
He's very controversial, I think.
Yeah. So he went back to resume, and that's where I was like, "Yeah, you're right. I do agree with that. I don't think Callum Smith has fought killers. He hasn't. If you look through his resume, what's his second after George Groves? What's his other fights that he had? Like Rocky, I can't think who's he beat. What's that guy that he beat on Joshua Ruiz undercard? Who's the guy that he beat?
Hassan Adam.
Hassan Adam, yeah. So what I mean is, when you look at his resume, it's very, very flaky. John Ryder possibly beat him the fight before he fought Canelo, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying, and how John Ryder is, he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's.
He's not a killer, though, is he?
No. So again, that's the thing. That's the problem. But what I found funny is when he said Callum Smith is like a statue.
No,
yeah.
I was offended. I was really offended. I was probably going for him then. How can you call Callum Smith a statue? Oh my days.
Yeah.
But you know what, Ray, I'll be honest with you, I was really disappointed with Callum Smith in that fight, man. Against
we all
Canelo.
were. We all were. Because we were really disappointed with him against John Ryder and really disappointed with him against Canelo, but he's not a statue.
No,
I said to before I knew, because I didn't know the last spell boys at that time.
Yeah,
but I always said to my close mates that no one's I know boxing with, and I used to go to boxing because don't forget I used to live in Liverpool for a couple of years. I used to go around the gyms there. So I said to a lot of people that it depends how well Callum Smith does the weight, because it's one thing making the weight and it's another thing performing at the weight. Do you see what I mean? And I think making the weight with his huge frame that one last time took too much out of him. Took too much out of him. And also,
do you think Callum Smith becomes champion at 175?
It's a good question. If he gets matched correctly, yeah, of course he does. Because you got to remember, Joe Smith Jr. is the champion there, isn't he? So if Joe Smith Jr. will become a champion there, of course he can. Of course he can. I don't think he beats Beterbiev.
Oh no.
I don't think he beats Beterbiev. I think Bivol would be too much for him. But you got to remember, I think he's better than Ramirez. I think he's better than Joe Smith Jr. So, and I don't think Benavidez is as good as what everybody says he is. I think Benavidez versus Ramirez is a very interesting fight because both of them are just the same as each other, really. I think that's a huge fight in Mexico.
A lot of people seem to think Benavidez would beat Smith. But that would be a good fight.
A lot of people think Benavidez beats Canelo.
Benavidez. Oh my God!
Do you think he gives Canelo more problems than Callum Smith? Oh, it's not hard, is it, to give him more problems than Callum Smith gave him no issues whatsoever. But do you think it's a more interesting fight?
Yeah.
Because Virgil Hunter said that, you know what, after Plant, Canelo needs to start stepping up and fighting guys like Benavidez. So Benavidez is really highly rated, man.
Yeah, Benavidez is very, very highly rated.
I don't know. Do you think he gives
No, he definitely gives Canelo problems. But yeah, I think Canelo beats him. I mean, Canelo could knock Benavidez. That's how Benavidez fights. He's very open to a counter. He doesn't move his head. He just goes in a straight line, throwing with his chin up in the air. He's got power, and he's probably tough. So he definitely is a tough guy. But yeah, people rate him very highly.
All right. So basically, I'm going to give you the last word, Makai, before we sign off. What happens with this Plant Canelo situation?
Well, apparently it can still get done, but I don't really know. It could get sorted. I have a feeling it might get sorted. If not, I think Canelo will fight Dimitri Bivol. I hope.
Right, Ray. Final word. What do you think happens?
So Sorry, say that again. I had to switch phones because my battery died.
What do you think happens with this Caleb Plant Canelo situation? Just signing off. Your last word.
I think he probably. I mean, I said to you on the before. I'm not too sure this fight happens, and I think he fights somebody at light heavyweight, and I'm gonna stick by that. I think he either fights. I think he probably is gonna fight Bivol.
Yeah,
Ray, I didn't get your opinion at the start because obviously when you got in there, we started. You know, there was a debate going on with Christian and stuff.
Yeah.
But what's going on here, man? What's going on here? Because it looks like a breakdown here. And why do you think this fight's not come off?
Well, I think it's when you look into it, it's got something to do with the contract negotiations. Whether it's actually due to the amount that Plant wants, or it's something to do with what PBC are offering Canelo. There's been a breakdown somewhere, and I said, I remember saying to you and Carl on our show that I think it's either down to Plant asking for too much money, or the fact that they're trying to tie in something with Canelo, which doesn't sit right with Canelo. And I have always said that, and I know Andy and Carl and a few others said that Canelo's desperate for this belt. I've always said that no, he's not. He's not. I don't think Canelo's that desperate for the belt. He wants to be undisputed, but Canelo's got an ego, and I don't think he wants people to dictate to him. Canelo sees himself as the A side. He'll dictate to you. And if you don't want to dance to his tune, he'll take his music elsewhere. And that's what he's doing.
The thing is, Ray, with this fight, though, I don't see it happening on any other broadcaster but Fox. It has to happen on Fox because Al Heyman's not going to allow Caleb Plant, unless Caleb Plant's contract, he's not going to allow this fight to happen on any other platform. Let's be honest. We've already seen that now. We've already witnessed that. So the only way this fight happens is if Canelo fights on Fox. But it's
that's where it was.
Say that again.
That's where it was. That was all agreed to on Fox pay-per-view. That was where it was all agreed to. Yeah, it's just it was just small details, but then it's turned out to be major because it stopped the fight from happening. So it's only small according to them. So I don't think it's got anything to do with that.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Ray. Right? They was reportedly set to earn their career highest payday. Right? Both of them. So if Canelo was set to earn $40 million and Plant was set to earn $10 million, that's $50 million that PBC have got to pay the fighters, right? So they're a pay-per-view platform. They're not a platform like DAZN where they give out guarantees, right? Don't you think that's too high of a guarantee then plus pay-per-view on top? Because remember, Canelo and Plant would want to split on a pay-per-view as well. Yeah. So don't you think that's a bit too much money on that kind of platform, the way they do it to guarantee?
Well, it potentially, yeah, it could be. And I've always said that for somebody like DAZN, they wouldn't have the money to pay Plant what he wants. No, because I think what you've got to look at is are they getting that value? And they got a lot of stick. I know it wasn't a fight for undisputed, but they've got a lot of stick for Canelo's opponents and paying them the amount of money that they did. So I don't think there's the appetite there for them to overpay Plant, regardless if it's for an undisputed fight or not. I think that's another thing that's getting missed here. So Fox might be the viable option for now, but this has got to suit Canelo. Although he's getting a career high payday, what else are they discussing that we're not privy to that Canelo's obviously unhappy with? Because for me, it could be that they might say to Caleb Plant, okay, you're not getting a Canelo fight, you're getting a Benavidez fight. That way, it's too, Caleb Plant comes out the winner in this because he's got a better chance of keeping his belt, and he equally earns a career high payday.
Fair enough.
That's where I think Caleb Plant's going. I think they're going to make the. I think they're going to put him with Benavidez, and Canelo will end up stepping up against Bivol.
Yeah, and Bivol, Canelo has not said anything about Bibble yet. Like, I've never seen Canelo talk about him. And
But
Bibble's even.
Bibble's with Eddie Hearn, though, isn't he?
Yeah, that fight's easy to make, just like that.
Yeah.
But Turbiev's with ESPN, so that won't be easy. Again, it's another situation where Canelo might have to fight on ESPN. So that's not going to be easy to make. The right fight would be either Andrade or Bivol. But Andrade, Bivol, they are easy fights to make. By the way, I would love Canelo to fight Andrade, and just for Christian, I'd love it. Because Christian, by the way, you guys seen him today. Christian's been messaging me for a very long time about this breakdown, and I was telling Christian, I want you to come on camera. I want you to give your opinion. I want you to come on. And we never managed. Obviously, today, I've actually realized he's actually a lawyer, so he's really busy. But today, he actually finally came on, and he was in the comment section. He's like, Imran, I want to come on. So he came on, and fair play to him. He came on, gave his time, man.
He's not a PBC lawyer, is he?
Hey?
He's not a lawyer for PBC, is he?
You know what? He seemed like he had a lot of knowledge about, all the fighters and the dates and stuff. I don't know, mate. He might be involved in boxing.
Do you know what it is? I've got friends that are lawyers, and I think sometimes when you're in a particular clique, you get to know stuff. For example, I've got a friend that's a coach for Newcastle United, just for the kids, and he knows a lot of stuff because he knows other coaches. So this Christian, I'm not going to say he's a liar. If he is a lawyer, he probably knows other. He sounds as though he's from New York, by his accent. He probably knows a lot of lawyers that perhaps know bits and bobs. But like I said, I don't want to badmouth him or anything, but I just think his views are very wayward and controversial.
A bit biased as well.
Yeah, and very, very, very biased. Very, very biased. But I would love Canelo to do a job on Andre and then on Charles.
Yeah.
Because
that's why I was saying to him that, come on, man, surely you can't tell me that. I would love to see the fight. That's why not just for Christian, for example. There's a lot of people that seem to think that. Not just Christian. There's a lot of people that seem to think Andrade beats Canelo. So for that reason,
it's your PBC guys, it's your blue blood guys, all these people that I've been talking about. These people that wind me up, Imran. The same people that think Fury cheated against Wilder. It just annoys me.
You do know that those same people now have gone against Jamel. You know why?
Why?
Because he spoke up against Wilder.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that annoyed me with him, the only two things that annoyed me with it, is how he disrespected Golovkin, saying he's just a banger with a good chin, and that Canelo's basic. Like,
you can't call Canelo basic. That's just rude.
And I mean, you can't say Golovkin's not a good boxer as well. Golovkin's a great boxer. Just because he's not on his feet doesn't mean he's not a good boxer.
It's funny because his argument was Andre's won something that he's beaten in the Olympics. And I said, well, look what Golovkin done in the Olympics.
Don't think he said anything, did he?
And then he quickly changed his tune, didn't he?
The thing is, I just don't see Andrade being able to keep Canelo and Golovkin off. I don't see how he's going to be. He may outbox them for 4 or 5 rounds, but to do it for 12 rounds is a long time.
Tough ask.
It's a tough ask.
And
power.
And I think as well, cutting off the ring is a skill nobody seems to appreciate these days. Back in the 80s, the 70s, when my dad was at our age following boxing, it was seen as a master skill to have, because that's how he defeated a boxer. Now Canelo against somebody like Andre, I'm telling you now, he cuts off the ring, he touches Andre to the body, he slows him down, and then he finishes him off to the head. That's how it's going to play out. That's how it's going to play out. That's how you beat him.
Is that what your dad said?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying about my dad is, when my dad used to watch boxing the way we did, you really, really rated boxers who cut off the ring. But what I'm saying now, Mackay, is people don't talk about it now.
Yeah.
When you're in the pub and not watching boxing and you're hearing people talk, they're not talking about people cutting off the ring. They're not talking about that. They're talking about so-and-so goes in and out like amateurs, like Olympic style boxing. Oh, he's got a long reach. He's got quick feet. wow, you know. There's other ways to skin a cat. There's other ways to win a boxing fight.
Yeah.
Guys, Ray, Mackay, great having you guys on. Christian, thank you. Stephen, thank you. Thank you to everyone that made a contribution. Everyone in the chat. I think Ray. I think Carl got angry. Basically, he came on, right, and I think he saw Christian speaking, and he's like, "What's this channel I'm on? I'm on a Android fanboy, this, that, and the other." I think he got angry and he left.
I was thinking that's the reason why he left.
I've seen his comment inside, and then I think he got angry and he left.
Yeah, I'll have to have a word. I'll have to have a word.
But I can't believe he stitched me up on the show. I was like, I've been saying all along that I think Usyk beats Joshua, and he's like saying that Imran. I've been saying, and I've gone against my word.
Well, to be honest, like I said, I was in Edinburgh.
You've got to mention that, Ray. You've got to go.
I told him. I had a little WhatsApp exchange, and he said, Imran did a U-turn, and I said, Carl, I've watched the video that he did on Saturday after the Joyce fight, and I thought Imran didn't do a U-turn. Imran actually said Usyk beats AJ.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You getting him confused with somebody else? Because I remember that show well because there was 5 of us on.
Yeah.
There was 5 of us, and I remember, I think it might have been Andy's nephew that was on, called Reese, and I remember it was me and Carl saying that AJ wins, and everybody else was saying that Usyk would beat AJ. So I remember it really well. So I've already told him. I got
stitched up good and proper on that thing.
Well, you know what you need to do now. You need to come on the show and give him it back.
Yeah. I will. I'll especially when you're on there, because you'll be backing me up. Because even Andy was like, Imran, I've got to call you up on it because, you did say AJ would beat, and I was like there saying, come on, guys. I never ever said. I by the way, I didn't say that. I did say that Joshua, he's a favorite in that fight, but I just think stylistically that I think Usyk's all wrong. And they were like saying that, no, you've done a U-turn, and that. I was like, mate, all along, you check my YouTube videos, I've been saying it in every single one of them.
Yeah, I know.
I think Usyk's a problem.
I know you've always said it, because I know, because I've always disagreed. I've always said that.
Yeah, exactly.
AJ would win, so.
But you've been on a lot of my live streams as well, so obviously you know my opinion. Whereas
my only problem is Usyk might get robbed if it goes to 12 rounds.
That's possible. I won't rule that out, Mackay. I'll be honest about that.
Yeah, he could get robbed.
Yeah. I think if it did go 12 rounds and Usyk was getting the better of it, it would go to Joshua. But then again, how many times have I said on here and on my own show, you've got to rip it from the champion. You've got to, if it's close, it's obviously going to go to the champion.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it will be close, to be honest.
I think Joshua will stop me.
Yeah, I think either Josh. I personally think, you know what? I don't think it's going to go to the scorecards either way. I think Usyk could stop Joshua as well.
Yeah, Usyk. I think he's going to gas him out and stop him.
I won't be surprised. Like people keep talking about Usyk's power, and he's got no power. You don't need to have a lot of power. You can wear a guy down, and his stamina is Joshua's not got great stamina. That's not just got better all of a sudden. Later on down the stretch, it could be a problem for him if Usyk starts hitting him clean and Joshua not hitting Usyk. That could be a big problem for him down the stretch. True,
but Usyk might not be there down the stretch.
That's the thing. He may get done.
Exactly.
He could get done because there is a possibility. Carl was right when he said we don't know what Usyk's chin's like at heavyweight against someone like a Joshua. He has shown that he's got a pretty sturdy chin up until this point, but he hasn't been in the ring with anyone like Joshua who hits hard as Joshua.
Exactly.
That is if Joshua hits him clean and Usyk is there, then Joshua's got a problem, right? If Joshua hits him flush and Usyk's able to absorb the punishment, then Joshua may have a problem.
That will play in Joshua's mind as well if he realizes that Usyk can take his power. That's going to play on his mind badly. Because
Usyk is very skilled. He's not an Andy Ruiz. He's not somebody that's going to blow up in shape, blow up 400 pounds. He's going to be somebody that's in shape, that knows what he needs to do. a lot more amateur experience. If Usyk, I think Joshua will mentally get worried as well if Usyk is down after 6-7. I think that'll affect Joshua, whereas Usyk will probably stay more calm. So that's why I can't wait, man. That's a great fight. Great fight.
I can't wait.
I
wish it wasn't on September 25th. That's so far, man. That's so far.
Fight. Great fight.
Yeah.
Great fight. But yeah, guys, I'll let you go, man. I know, Ray, you got work early in the morning.
That's true, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll hopefully do another live tomorrow. Let's see how this develops, and then let's see what goes on, and we'll do a live. Hopefully, come on live again tomorrow and chop it up again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And
chop with some boxing.
Yeah, definitely, man. There'll probably be some other big news tomorrow.
Yeah, there always is. There's always something to talk about in boxing.
Yeah. Chris makes a point. He goes, Rocky Fielding got $7 million to fight Canelo, and for taking a knee. Oh, Chris Akabushi's laugh.
Chris Akabushi, I just don't think Rocky's good enough to beat him. I don't think he took a dive, mate.
Yeah, I think Rocky Fielding was always over his head, weren't he, Ray?
I mean, Rocky Fielding, didn't he get beat by Canelo Smith in one round?
Yeah. I remember that was a really good fight, that because they were both. The build-up was great because obviously we were both from Liverpool. It was a local derby, but I remember watching that fight, and I remember him rocking Callum Smith. Callum Smith took it well. They were both inside on the pocket, and Callum Smith landed a left hook. And I've always said, and it was funny because Tony Bellew said it 2 years afterwards, that at that point I hadn't seen anybody in Britain throw a better left hook than Callum Smith.
Yeah, he did a catch left hook, right?
Yeah, he did. That's exactly what he was great at. And if he could reproduce that at welterweight, light heavyweight under Buddy McGirt, then he's gonna be a problem.
He landed one left hook on Canelo Alvarez, and Canelo just looked at him and laughed at him.
Yeah, he did. I did see that. But also, Canelo took away Callum Smith's bicep.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
That was such a smart plan there. So smart.
It was. And Callum Smith laughed because he knew he couldn't do anything once his bicep was gone.
Took away Smith's main weapon.
Did he get $7 million for that fight, Rocky Fielding, to fight Canelo?
I'm not too sure he did.
Yeah, I think someone said it was 2.5 million. Yeah, it definitely wasn't 7 million.
Yildirim got like $3 million, didn't he, to fight Canelo?
Yeah, that was 2 million. Worked out with £2 million. Yeah.
So Rocky Fielding might have got the same amount. Actually, he might have gotten it $7 million.
I don't think he got 7 million though.
Yeah, he definitely didn't get 7 million.
Was hardly known by anybody as well. 7 million.
Saunders only got like 8 million. There's no way Rocky got 7.
Yeah, I can't agree. Yeah. Was 14 million purse. He got 50%. Chris Akabushi.
No, Chris, that's not right.
No way.
Yeah, Chris, it's not right. Yeah. No, Kovalev didn't even get 14 million.
Kovalev got quite a bit. I heard he got like.
Kovalev got 12 million. Plus.
Yeah.
12 million. And Daniel Jacobs, he got like 8 million. No, 10 million. 10 or 9. And then,
it's a lot of money that at the time, it was good money. But guys, thanks for chopping it up, man. I appreciate it. Ray, Mackay.
Cheers,
man, coming on and on the panel, man. You guys were great. Today was actually really good. I loved it. I loved the Christian debate. I loved, after that, it was great. Today was really lively, man.
He was getting a bit heated with Christian. I'm not gonna say I felt sorry for him, but he did get a lot of. It was the first time everybody seemed to be on the same wavelength. People in the comments. All of us were all sort of agree, and the only person disagreeing with us was Christian.
Yeah. I knew this because, like I said, Christian's been messaging me a lot. When I talk about it, he's even messaged me on the comment section, and I messaged Christian directly. I said, Christian, whenever you're free, I want to interview you and I'll talk to you about it.
Is he on the Facebook group?
Yeah. He's there. Yeah. He's one of my friends on Facebook as well. So we've messaged directly on Facebook Messenger. So he's on one of the groups. You should see his break. That's
who he is, and
yeah.
And read some of his stuff.
Yeah. He's on the boxing fans. I think I think he writes down. He's wrote down. I don't know whether he sent me the messages directly on Messenger or on Facebook. I think he's commented on certain posts in the Facebook group. I think.
Cool.
I can't.
Mackay, are you in the Facebook group?
What Facebook group?
The boxing fans one.
Box.
It's over 50. We got 50,000 members. We've created a Facebook group.
Yeah, come on, man. You need to be in this. It's the best one going on Facebook.
It's over 50. How many followers we got?
52,000.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's called Boxing Fans in capital letters.
Yeah. And everyone in the live stream right now, you've got to join our Facebook group.
Yeah. It's got Muhammad Ali as the background photo.
Oh, Facebook.
Yeah.
Boxing Fans.
Capital letters, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, it's Muhammad Ali basically flooring Sonny Liston.
Yeah, Sonny Liston, yeah.
Okay, then.
What do you make of Ray? What do you make of Jay Sanchez's breakdown? He breaks down pretty good as well.
Jay Sanchez, he's a bit hit and miss for me. I like him because he's out there and he's very anti-PBC. But some of his stuff, like for example, when he was on about Terence Crawford, and I've ended up tying him in knots because he was on about Tank's resume and Crawford's resume, and I was like, well, to be fair, Crawford was undisputed. When's Tank ever been undisputed? In fact, when's Tank ever been unified? And then he had nothing to say. He was talking about who Leo Santa Cruz has fought. And I said, well, he fought Carl Frampton and he fought Abner Mares. So you can't say he fought no one because at the time, Carl Frampton was a champion. He was a unified champion.
Yeah.
So you can't give him. He's no duckhead basically. So he does put some good debates there. At the end of the day, he does create debate, and he's got some interesting points. So I like the guy. I would like to get him on here and have a debate with him face to face.
Definitely get him on.
Yeah.
I seen your post, Ray, about the Rowley and the Khan one, and there was a guy that responded to you. You probably haven't seen it yet. He says, "No disrespect, but I think Khan can beat Rowley. He does have power, though, as long as Khan doesn't get touched on the chin." Oh my God! I think some people seem to think this Rowley's got some serious power.
Oh my God, Rowley's awful.
Rowley's a joke. Rowley's a joke.
Awful.
This is what I mean when I was saying before about some Americans seem to think, well, if Rowley was a British fighter, he'd be getting slagged off by Americans.
Yeah.
So why are we jumping on him now?
What's he done? Who's he beat? I don't understand what makes people think he's something special.
Rowley was getting
tagged. Tank.
Rowley, yeah, exactly. He is calling out Tank.
Honestly,
Rowley was getting tagged
him out
by Anthony Yigit. Anthony Yigit, who's only had 8 knockouts, and Rowley was getting tagged all over by that kid.
Yeah, he's
not a good fighter, Rowley. He's not a good fighter at all.
He's not.
Let's see when he steps up against somebody that's.
Who he reminds me of? He's like a Cuban version of Tim Tszyu.
What, Rowley?
Yeah, just overrated.
Maybe he's. I wouldn't even want to say Adrian Broner because Adrian Broner is a 4-weight world champion. He achieved. Adrian Broner gets a lot of rap, but when you look at it, he's achieved a lot in boxing.
And he fought some good names as well.
Yeah. And to be honest, the guys that he lost to, like Maidana, Porter, Mikey, and Pacquiao, that's
there's no disgrace in losing to them.
No. I did think the fight with Paulie was very close. I think that was kind of his level, though, wasn't it?
I just think he fought the wrong weight. He should never have been a welterweight. He should never have done it. This is an example when we talked about earlier of fighters trying to clean up at a weight class before they move up.
Yeah,
he should have stayed. He should have stayed at lightweight and light welter a lot longer than he did.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Dude, bro says, Ray, I'm American and I think Rolly is trash.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's people that don't. To be honest, I don't really know a lot about him. I know that apparently he fought a fight in Marinez and he got and he lost and he got the decision apparently. So I haven't really, to be honest, I haven't really been focusing much on him. To be honest, that's why when he made those comments, I don't know whether he made those comments to for attention rather than actually meant it. I think he probably thought he'd get a lot of attention from making those comments about Khan and Haney. Maybe he thought, you know, that's a way of getting his name out there. All right, he's being disrespectful, but it's probably a way of promoting himself and getting his name out there, right?
Yeah, but the embarrassing thing is, Haney schools him.
Yeah. I'd agree. Yeah, he's yeah. If you get him beat by the guys that, you know, Marinez, the guy that he apparently lost to, ain't beating Devin Haney, is he? Haney's a good fight. And then the fact that he said, well, Linares is a serious dude. Linares is a top fighter. So, yeah, guys, man, I could keep you long. I don't want to keep you any longer, but thanks, Ray, Mackay.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just making a Facebook account now. I'm going to join that group.
Oh, you've not made a Facebook?
Nah, I used to have Facebook, but I don't even remember the password.
Mackay, get Facebook here, join it, and then we'll accept you on. What's your surname going to be?
Oh, I'm just about to make it now. I just done Mackay. I just done Mackay H. That's it.
Right. Okay. You make it. Yeah. I'll see the notification come through. I'll accept you on. Yeah.
All right. Cheers, mate.
All right then. Okay then, boys.
All right. Take care, man.
All right, and see you later.
Ray.
See you.
Mackay, take care.
See you. Bye.
See you later, boys. Everyone in the chat, thank you very much. Donda Jesuis is coming. Chris, I'll definitely Jesuis, Jesus is coming. I'll definitely put you on, but you never joined the link. So eventually I will have you on. But thanks, 3 hours again. Thanks for everyone coming on. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks to everyone, and I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. Do another live. You know, if we have some more news. But thanks everyone. Take care. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon.